to report a bear hug.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Well, we were building a bonfire, and I saw some, dry brush and leaves around, so, I said to move the bonfire somewhere else, and out of nowhere, Smokey Bear shows up and hugs me.
So you noticed some wildfire hazards and moved your bonfire to a safer location.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Smokey, all right. He likes it when people help prevent wildfires. It hits him close to home. Not everybody gets the hug, my friend. So that's pretty special to get a hug from Smokey Bear.
So it was him. Guys, I told you it was Smokey.
Okay, well, congratulations, my friend. And thanks for calling. There are many ways to prevent a wildfire. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. Waking up every day, lifting him from the bed to the wheelchair to the car to get him to therapy on time, it's no small task between the doctors and the diagnosis, but nothing can disable this love. This is my big brother, my hero. He's part of me, like my arms and legs. So I'll be his. See, there's no time for tired. This starts again tomorrow. He'll be waiting for me. I wake up for him. I know he needs me, but I'm the lucky one. Even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community, or call 877-333-5885. Caregiving Resource Center. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do. Tell the world I see with an emoji to stop the bullies.
Know someone who's being bullied online? Send the witness emoji. It looks like an eye in a speech bubble, and it's in the symbol section near the clocks in your phone. You'll let the world know it isn't cool, and you'll let your friend know you care. Learn more about the witness emoji at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to mooch off your friends.
You gonna finish that grape?
You mean the one in my mouth?
You don't need to stop buying the necessities.
What you're smelling is a natural musk.
Ew.
You don't need to be a medical test subject.
How do you feel?
Mostly okay. Sometimes, though.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman. Let's break for lunch.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
All right, deal.
Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
When is the best time to talk to your family about staying in touch during a disaster? When floodwaters reach your door? When wildfires are engulfing the edge of your neighborhood? Or an earthquake is destroying buildings? When a tornado is tearing through town? Or a hurricane strikes? Or is the best time perhaps today? During a disaster, you may not be able to stay in touch with your family or friends as easily as you think. And it's not always as simple as using your cell phone. That's why now is the time to take action. Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Do current market conditions have you nervous? Our experienced team of financial professionals at Heritage Harbor Financial Associates understands that no two investors are alike. We all have different goals, needs, and appetites for risk. That's why the one-size-fits-all approach does not work, especially when planning for retirement. At Heritage Harbor Financial Associates, we analyze your unique investment style so that you can work toward your individual retirement goals on your terms. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates can help you take steps to reach your retirement goals by providing a wide array of financial products to fit your needs, even for the risk adverse. Give us a call at 631-331-6599 to learn more or to set up an appointment with one of our financial professionals. You can also find us on the web at hhfa.org or on Facebook at facebook.com/hhfa.org. Our number again is 631-331-6599. That's 631-331-6599. Investments in stock, bonds, and mutual funds and variable annuities are not FDIC insured and are subject to fluctuation in value and market risk, including loss of principal. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates offers securities through AXA Advisors, LLC, New York, New York. Member FINRA, SIPC. Annuity and insurance products offered through AXA Network, LLC.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit him online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
Be fearless at MMA Long Island and Seituha Karate. Located at 28 Colt Court in Ronkonkoma, MMA Long Island is the martial arts school for you if you want to learn combat-proven techniques, build confidence, discipline, and self-esteem while learning real martial arts to fight back against bullies, predators, and peer pressure. MMA Long Island offers group and private lessons for all ages and levels in traditional Goju-Ryu Karate, MMA, and self-defense. MMA Long Island is one of Long Island's most affordable martial arts schools. There are no promotion, belt, or membership fees, and family discounts are available. All classes are taught by 7th degree black belt Sensei John Benedict with over 30 years teaching experience. So whether you want to get in the ring or protect yourself and your family, MMA Long Island can help you reach your goals. Visit MMALongIsland.com. That's MMALongIsland.com or call or text 516-381-9660. That's 516-381-9660.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply STOP to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her.
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve. Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is you over 30 years ago.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
And this is your mom when you drive her back from therapy.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Roles change without us noticing, and in your new role, we help you help. AARP gives you the information to help care for your mom so that you can have patience with her just like she did with you. Visit aarp.org/caregiving or call 1-877-333-5885 to get practical health and wellness tips to provide even better care for your loved one.
Are we there yet?
Remember, visit aarp.org/caregiving. AARP. We help you help. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Great moments are born from great opportunity. And that's what you have here. That's what you've earned here tonight.
Forget about the crowd. It's the size of the school. Their fancy uniforms. And remember what got you here. If you put your effort and concentration into playing to your potential, to be the best that you can be, I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game, in my book, we're going to be winners.
On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone else around us to pieces for that inch. We claw with our fingernails for that inch because we know when we add up all those inches, that's gonna make the difference between winning and losing.
It's down to the wire with Errol Marks and Speedy Petey.
Oh, Petey! Oh, Petey!
On the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Hello, Long Island, New York, and around the country. This is Down to the Wire. I'm your host, Errol Marks. My co-host, Mr. Tidy Whitey Man himself, Speedy PD. Remember, you can reach us and call us at 631-500-0548. You can go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. You can also do this, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't done this already, well, you better be doing it because I don't want to keep repeating myself. All you have to do is go to our website to find it, or you can go to the App Store. You go to the App Store, you go to iOS, which is WWSRN, or Android, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. As you guys see, I have a nice little pad under my neck. I had surgery on Friday. I had, obviously, disc replacement in my C6. I've been resting really throughout the weekend. Been very, very tired. A lot of pain. I will say this. I want to give a shout out to my doctor, Dr. Faust, for putting me through all the trials and tribulations through this procedure. And now I hope to feel a lot better after I heal and I get better. But I'm happy to be here. I am not going to miss the show. I missed the show over the weekend crunch. I heard it. I want to give a shout out to Josh Silverberg and Speedy Petey for putting a good show together, as everybody knows. But I will be back this weekend on the Weekend Crunch doing what I do best, and that's annoy people. But again, I'm happy to be here. Again, I want to give a shout out to all the fans for wishing me all the best from the procedure that I had over the week. Speedy, how are you, my friend?
I've been a little drowsy today. I did not sleep well, unfortunately, but been good for the most part. Got to see my cousins over the weekend. I actually played this very cool Black Panther game for anyone who likes Marvel movies out there. I know you've watched a lot of Marvel movies. Very interesting game with them, and so hung out with them for a little bit. Last time I'll see them for a while before with March Madness underway and stuff like that.
You know, Josh was trying to call, and you probably missed him.
No,
so,
I put him on, and then he hung up for some reason.
I have no idea why he is hanging up, but Josh, you can call up. I know you're having a heart attack, and we're going to get into free agency as the free agency market opened up today, and Jet fans are jumping off a plank. They want to kill themselves because they didn't sign Lindley and they didn't sign Thuney. So everybody is having a heart attack because the Jets didn't make a splash yet in free agency. Judon goes to the Patriots. Obviously, they bring the Patriots get a tight end over there from Tennessee in Smith. So all the things that are happening and nothing with the Jets. And now everybody is saying the Jets are being cheap. Joe Douglas is being cheap. He's not going to make any moves. Just remember, free agency opened up today. That's what it did. And I don't understand why everybody wants to jump off a plank because the Jets haven't made any moves yet. It is still very early in free agency. The Jets have a lot of money to spend, and I think Joe Douglas has a plan. Now, of course, guys like Josh and a lot of Jet fans out there, they wanted to make a big splash. They wanted to land a guy like Thuney, who's one of the best guards in football. Is he worth 5 years, $80 million? The answer is no. He is a guard. He's not a tackle. And I don't know if I would even pay a tackle a 5-year, $80 million deal. Now, as far as Lindley, I know everybody likes him. He's a center. He played very well this past year. For the last couple of years, he's looked really, really good. And he was available from the Green Bay Packers, and he goes elsewhere. He does not sign with the New York Jets. I don't think the Jets even made him an offer. So I know Jet fans, and I watch all these different videos on YouTube. I watch all these different things on Twitter. I read Rich Cimini and all these different guys writing for the Jets, and everybody is saying, well, the Jets, they're not making a splash. Joe Douglas is putting a hold on it. He's not going to open up his pockets. He's not the type of guy that's going to open up his pockets. He's going to wait until things fall to him. I don't think it was a bad move that the Jets didn't sign Lindley, even though I thought he was the best center available. I'm not upset that they didn't sign Thuney because I'm not paying a guard $80 million. Now, the New England Patriots, they made a splash. They added Judon, 4 years, worth about $50 million. It was a good deal. As far as what the Patriots need, they need a pass rusher. They have a lot of players coming back from, obviously, the COVID-19 situation. So, again, I think a lot of fans are sitting back and saying, well, the Patriots open up the pocket. Why haven't the Jets done it yet? It is early, ladies and gentlemen. It is, 5 hours into free agency, and the Jets haven't made a move, so everybody's going to walk the plank? I don't understand it. I still understand why Jet fans are like this because we've had losing season after losing season after losing season. I get a text message from Jeff saying the Jets are going to get every sloppy second of every single team. How do you figure that? Because the Jets didn't pay Thuney $80 million. They didn't pay Lindley $62 million, or Judon almost $50 million. The Jets are going to do the right thing for the organization. Joe Douglas is going to make the right precautious moves to make this team a better organization and a better team moving forward. Now, looking at the free agency market right now, there's still a load of players still available for the Jets to land. Now, Ngakwe is the guy I think the Jets need to really signal going after. He is a pass rusher. He's an edge rusher. He's a guy that would fit the scheme, especially a scheme of a 4-3 defense, that you could put him on the outside. You have Quentin Williams on the inside, and maybe you add another pass rusher on the other outside. Maybe you bring in a Dunlap, an older veteran player on the other side that can help out some of the young players like Quentin Williams. I think all in all, the Jets are going to spend money. They have to spend money. The question is, how are they going to spend the money, and which way are they going to go to spend their money? That's going to be the question, Speedy.
Yeah, the edge rushers has always, I think, been the biggest priority for me. If I was a Jets fan, and that's what I would want them to do, because they haven't had it. They need two of them. It's not like they just need one. They need both sides of it, and they really need to do that. Whereas receiver, they really only need one, and offensive line, even so too, they only need one.
Well, let's get him on because he's having a heart attack. He wants to jump off a bridge. What's going on, Josh?
Press 1 to send a voicemail.
Put him through. What's going on, Josh?
That's the introduction, I guess.
Well, the introduction is you're going to jump off a plank. You want to call up a show and you want to argue your points that the Jets didn't make these crazy moves. I'm not paying Thuney $80 million. I'm not paying Lindley $62 million as a center. I'm sorry. I'm not overpaying these players to make my team in, what do they call it? Salary hell or whatever they call themselves. In
cash strap.
Cash strap for the next 20 years. The Jets are an organization that have to make the right moves. If they plan to win in the next 2 or 3 years, they have to make the precautious moves that's going to make this team a better team in the future. I think, listen, I wanted Thuney. I did. I wanted Lindley. I wanted him. But for the money that they got, I'm not paying Thuney 5 years, $80 million as a guard, and I'm not paying Lindley $62 million as a center when he's not even the best center in the league. So go ahead, Josh.
Well, I mean, for those of you that don't know, I do the show with Errol on the Weekend Crunch. So there's my nice little introduction. I did it myself. That's okay. I thought I would get a little more out of Errol.
No, I've been waiting to talk about this, and now that the free agency market opened up, all the Jet fans. You should see it on social media.
Gee, you know what? I'm with you. I'm actually not against you. I'm with you on this. I agree with you. Jimmy Jardine and I have actually been in the Jet group chat, and we've been arguing with CJ and all those guys about it. Listen, Thuney got a lot of money. Can you also blame the guy for not wanting to go to Kansas City over the Jets? I mean, you got to be realistic here. When the Kansas City Chiefs offered him a contract, he was going to take it. Because of the fact of the matter is that he gets to play in front of Patrick Mahomes. The Jets don't know who the quarterback is. That's one. As far as Lindsey goes, I said it on the Weekend Crunch last 2 weeks. I really wanted him, and I actually wanted him more than Thuney, and I wanted them to move McGovern to guard. And instead, they didn't get Lindsey. Now, I agree with you. He's not the best center in the league. Giving him $62.5 million is crazy. But also, he gets the center, Justin Herbert, a very good quarterback. The Jets have no idea who their quarterback is. And we're not going to know we don't know how long, the next few weeks, maybe a month. I have no idea. It's very early. I was upset at first. I was talking to Speedy about it. I was upset at first. But then I had to sit back and think about it and talk and think about it in the big picture. You still have a guy in Trey Turner who, which, by the way, Speedy did. Nobody replaces you, Arrow, on the Weekend Crunch. But Speedy did do a very nice. I want to give Speedy kudos. He did a great job on Saturday with me doing the show. If you got a chance to hear it, he really did awesome. And
thanks, man.
We had great conversations. And, Speedy brought up the point about Trey Turner. His skill set is comparable to Joe Thuney's. It is. It's very similar. He was a Pro Bowl guard. And the thing is, when you do the interior on the line, you do that usually through the draft. It's very tough to do it through free agency. The only way the New York Jets are going to get players here, guys, is if they overpay for guys. And Joe Douglas has it set in stone. He's not Mike McCagnon where he's going to overpay for guys. And he's smart doing that. Because the last time the Jets did this, they got screwed, and they're still screwed with C.J. Mosley's ridiculous contract. He's setting a mark, and he's going to stick to it. He's not going to get into a ridiculous number with some of these players. And look, the wide receiver market, guys, none of those guys have been signed yet. None of them.
I will say this. I will say this, and I'm sorry to cut in because I know
No, it's fine.
I'm watching. I'm reading so many different things on social media before the show even started. I'm reading what Rich Cimini said, and Rich Cimini is sticking up for Joe Douglas. Why would somebody like Joe Douglas spend $80 million for a guard? Thuney is getting paid offensive tackle. He's getting paid offensive tackle money, and I don't know if I'm paying an offensive tackle 5 years, $80 million right now, especially the way the market is.
I think the Chiefs were better off keeping Schwartz.
I think when you look at the Jets right now, there is still a lot of good offensive linemen that are still available. There are a ton of guards that are available in the interior. They could bring in Trey Turner. I do believe McGovern. They're going to bring McGovern back. I don't know if he's going to be center. I don't know if he's going to be the guard. I don't know if the Jets are going to make a trade. I don't know if the Jets are going to draft a guard or a center early in the draft. So I think that you've heard what Joe Douglas has said in the last couple of weeks. He's going to build around the draft. All these great GMs, you can go in and out, even ask Bill Belichick. And I was very surprised that the Bill Belichick Patriots made as big a splash as they have so far early in free agency. I didn't think they were going to pay Judon as much as they did, and I didn't think they were going to spend the kind of money that they've done so far so early. That's not Bill Belichick. That's not what the Patriots do.
They're very bad. I have a friend who's a Ravens fan who even told me when the Patriots gave Judon that contract, wholly overpay.
Really?
Because he thinks Judon is overrated. Yep.
At what,
Yep.
14.5 a year? I don't think that's that bad.
Well, you know what it is, too, though, is he doesn't fit Saleh's system. He's a 3-4.
Oh, well, yeah. Right. But I thought you were judging directly the Patriots contract.
No. But he thinks the Patriots for signings are ridiculous. I mean, look, Bill Belichick, what he gave Janu Smith they're nice contracts. They're nice players. But they're not, in my opinion, I don't think they're game changers. I don't think I'm sitting back here upset about Matthew Judon not signing with am I a little frustrated they didn't get Yannick Ngakoue? A little bit, because he went to the Raiders. I'm a little annoyed, but there's.
I didn't even hear Ngakoue went to the Raiders. When did that happen?
Yeah, he went a few minutes ago. He signed with the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
But they still have Carl Lawson. I think they're going to sign Trey Hendrickson from the Saints, which would be, in my opinion, a very nice pickup. He's 26. He had 13.5 sacks last year, and he fits the 4-3 very well. And there's also reports that there's teams calling him, asking about the availability of C.J. Mosley. I mean, if the Jets could unload that contract, it would be incredible if they could unload that contract. I mean, who would have thought that anybody would take on this? I mean, you guys played 2 games in 2 years. I mean, it's, everybody's just got to sit back and relax.
I think a lot of Jet fans need to sit back and relax because I understand Jeff.
I'm going to say he's going to build it through the draft.
He's
building this through the draft.
Jeff actually texted me before the show, and he says, "Oh, the Jets are going to get everybody sloppy seconds," and then he's saying that you're going to turn into the Beeve. You're going to turn into a guy that thinks that the Jets are going to get everybody. I never said the Jets are going to get everybody. I never said that. I would have liked Thune.
It was Thuney.
Yes.
I heard you say it was Thuney. Other than that, I never said anybody else.
I wanted Thuney, but now when I look at the contract and what he got from the Kansas City Chiefs, 5 years, $80 million, I'm not paying a guard $20 million a year. I'm not doing that. Now, if he
the Chiefs are also in the position to do it, though. The Chiefs are in a position to do it because they're a Super Bowl caliber team. The Jets are still rebuilding.
Not really, but they're struggling with the cap too, and they need much more things than offensive line.
Yes, I understand that, but at the same time, this is a team that's gone to back-to-back Super Bowls. And you saw last year, in the Super Bowl, no less, if they have a comparable offensive line, you saw if Mahomes has enough time, Mahomes can be creative in the pocket. That's what killed him in that Super Bowl. He was pass rush every time.
It's so interesting because a lot of Jet fans are, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to read, if I can go to social media right now and just skim right through some of the things that people have written so far about Joe Douglas, that he's being cheap. He is not being cheap. What Joe Douglas is trying to explain and show Jet fans is this is a different organization. This is a completely different run organization now. The Jets are not going to add free agents to the open market, overpay free agents, and then put themselves in salary hell for the next 20 years. They're not going to do that. The Jets are not going to be an organization. Look at the Ravens. Look what the Ravens have done year in and year out, every single year.
They draft well.
They draft well, and then when these guys become, after their rookie contracts, sometimes they bring them back. If they're big-time superstars and if they're mediocre players, they let them go. And I think that's what the Jets are going to do. If they're a mediocre player, you're going to probably lose your position with the New York Jets. Joe Douglas is going to build around the draft. That's why he made those trades. That's why he traded Jamal Adams. And that's why I think if they do decide to bring in a Deshaun Watson, which he is still available, and I do believe the Jets are going to be a team that's going to make a run for him. I still think he's going to be available, and I still think that the Texans are going to move on from him.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
First off, as not only a co-host with me on the show, but as a good friend of mine, how are you feeling, by the way?
I am very sore.
Because you and you called me again last night, and I fell asleep on the couch.
Yeah.
And then I saw your missed call, and I went, crap. So, but how are you feeling?
I am very sore. It's very scary when you go under the knife and you're getting your neck cut and they're changing a disc replacement, and the doctor after, they pumped me up that could probably put down a horse. They told me, I forget what kind of painkillers that they gave me. They gave me so much of it because they told me before they brought me upstairs that they want to make sure that I'm pain-free. I was in so much pain when I woke up from my
I remember.
My sleep. They told me that they were talking on the floor on the ward that I was in, that they gave me so much painkillers that it could have put down a horse. It could have put down an octopus. You know what I mean? That's how much painkillers they gave me. But all in all, it's going to be a long process. It's going to be a couple of months where I'm going to feel the strength again and get back to my normal strength. But all in all, he thinks that I'm going to be at 100% eventually. So I'm excited about that. And everybody keeps saying that I should rest. I shouldn't be doing a show. But I can't stop doing what I love to do. And I'm here to entertain people and really give them my outlook to what I think sports is. And I think right now where the Jets are and what the Jets are going to do this offseason, it's going to really change the wheel on where the Jets are going to be as an organization for the next 3 or 4 years. I think with Robert Saleh and obviously Mike LaFleur over there, and they're trying to rebuild this team from top to bottom. They're going to build around the draft, and I do believe that they're going to make acquisitions. They're going to bring in plenty of good young free agents. The problem is, are they going to make the splash like a lot of Jet fans thought that they were going to do, bringing in a Lingley or Thuney or Juju Smith-Schuster? I don't know. They still could get Juju. They could on a cheap, maybe.
They could even get Galladay.
They can get Galladay.
What I'm hearing, he's on top of their board. I know people are saying the Giants, and I'm even hearing reports that they might even go after KJ Wright. Put him at linebacker, which would be interesting. That would be an interesting one because they have Shaquem Griffin too.
He's not going to cost much either.
He's not, and they fit the key is they fit the system.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it is. I think, like I said, I think I was frustrated.
Of course you are.
Because they do need help on the line. They need help on the line. They do. But I think when you're doing the interior, you could do that through the draft. You really can. I mean, that's once Thuney got that contract from Kansas City, I said, oh, he's going there. I mean, once there was, I said, why would he go anywhere else? He made the right decision for himself. He got a ton of money guaranteed. He's going to a Super Bowl powerhouse. And that's where he's going. And Lindsley, he gets the way in front of Herbert.
I also look at the free agency market, and Speedy, you can open up the free agency market. You should have it open already. And I know Ngakoue is a guy that I think would have fit the 4-3 defense, especially an edge rusher that I think the Jets have been craving to have since John Abraham. But there are still guys that are going to be available. Jadeveon Clowney is still available. I don't think you're going to have to overpay Jadeveon Clowney, especially
Hendrickson from the Saints.
Hendrickson is another guy.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of guys. I think there are a lot of guys that are available right now that fit the 4-3 defense, the 4-3 that they're going to go at. And I still think with what Robert Saleh does, they're going to draft a pass rusher either in the second or third round, even though this is not a pass rushing draft. That doesn't mean that you can't find a needle in a haystack, especially being that this was a COVID-19 season, and we didn't get a chance to see all the pass rushers in the nation. Speedy, who are available? What do we got available right now in the pass rushing free agency market?
Hunter Henry.
Pass rushers that are still available as edge rushers. Melvin Ingram is another one that's another veteran guy to pay attention to. Bud Dupree is not really a 4-3 guy, so I don't think that would be an option for the Jets. Clowney, you mentioned. Hassan Reddick, another guy that's more of a 3-4 guy. Justin Houston, another veteran guy that could be interesting.
Carl Lawson,
who Josh mentioned, and
Carl Lawson is still there from the Bengals.
Yep. Yeah. And Errol brought up Dunlap earlier. They have chemistry with each other playing in Cincinnati. That could be an interesting combo if they want to go one young guy, one veteran guy. Tack McKinley, he's more of a second guy, but could get him on the cheap because he's been kind of up and down in previous years.
From Detroit too. They got the
no, Aquara just re-signed with Detroit, so that's
no.
Huh?
They got another line. They got a linebacker from Detroit.
Oh, they got Jared Davis, but he's not a pass rusher. He's a run-stopping type.
He's a guy that you're going to bring in as an add-on.
That's exactly it. He's going to play. He'll fill in for when if Mosley's there. Mosley sits down.
Mosley will be there. Mosley will be there.
Yeah, I mean, they just feel like he was a guy that, and actually a lot of people praise the Jets for this signing. He's a guy that if he just wasn't coached right, then he's going to have the most impact possible in his career. That's what he is. I mean, that's the kind of things the Jets, I think.
Well, they were also saying Mosley's in the best shape of his career right now, being that he missed a whole season. He's lost. I think they said he lost about 15 pounds. He lost a lot of water weight, so he's going to be a lot faster this year. I think putting him with Robert Saleh in a 4-3 defense, the way Quentin Williams played at the end of the season last year, I think you have a guy that can really dominate the middle of the field. You need to get an edge rusher, maybe two, like Speedy was saying. Yeah. You bring in an older guy like Carlos Dunlap. Carlos Dunlap is not going to cost you much. He's going to cost you $2-3 million a year. You bring in Dunlap and you bring in a young, talented pass rusher like a Lawson, a guy like that, or even a Jadeveon Clowney. You could bring Jadeveon Clowney in for $11 or $10 million a year. Put him on the other side of the ball. You're putting the Jets and Joe Douglas are putting the Jets in a position. And you saw what he did last year with McGovern. He didn't overpay McGovern. He didn't overpay Font. And there's still a lot of quality guards, a lot of quality interior offensive linemen that are available right now in free agency. So I know a lot of Jet fans are saying, well, we didn't make the splash. We didn't get the Lindley. We didn't get Thuney. I am not overpaying these guys because let's say Thuney plays, OTA start. Thuney gets hurt and tears his ACL or his MCL. He's out for the season.
He's been notoriously injury prone in his career, too.
He's out for the season, and now you have no tackles. You have no interior. What the hell is – I don't care how good Mahomes is. You're putting Mahomes in harm's way. You have no tackles, and there are still good tackles that are going to be available.
Why not go after Mitchell Schwartz or Eric Fisher?
They probably will. They probably will.
I think Schwartz is better, but either one is a good option.
Well, I will say this. At the end of the day, if the Jets were to sign Trey Hendrickson, I don't know, say Juju Smith-Schuster, and they got, who's the linebacker you said? Clowney. Are Jet fans going to be upset then?
No. I don't think so.
I mean, really. They should not be. And the thing is, they also have a lot of cap left over.
Yep, and I don't think
because they're also,
Josh, they're not going to spend their whole cap this year. They're not doing it.
No,
Joe Douglas is.
Never expect them to, and those that did are insane to think that they would. And it's egregious to think that they would have done that. And everybody, I got people on Twitter saying, "Oh, here's John Idzik 2.0." I said, "Oh, so you want them to go the Mike McCagnon round and find every single sexy name on the free agent market because that worked out 2 years ago, when they got Mosley and Bell and all these guys."
And remember,
C.J.
Mosley was one of the best linebackers in the league before he decided to sit out last year, and he got hurt in the beginning of the season. This is still a very good linebacker who's still a young. He missed 2 years of football. He's 27 years old. So just think, 2 years of football that he missed, he's still in great shape. He's in the best shape of his life, and he's coming to a 4-3 defense, a great defensive-minded player, player's coach. And then you have guys like Quinn Williams that is slowly but surely developing. And now you have Ashton Davis, Marcus May. You have players, and now you could bring in a Richard Sherman.
Why don't they even sign, what about Keanu Neal?
They could do a lot of things.
Because Keanu Neal, he was with, the new defensive coordinator for the Falcons.
Xavier Rhodes had a very good season last year for Indianapolis. He is available. You're not going to have to overpay for him. You could bring him in. You could bring a Richard Sherman in to help on the other side of the ball. AJ Boye, who was a very good cornerback for the Jacksonville Jaguars, who plays for the Broncos this past year. You put him on the other side of the ball. There is so many good young players and still very good veterans that are available right now in free agency.
If they want to spend a little more money, too. I didn't realize he was a free agent. William Jackson's a very underrated corner, too. He's going to cost more because he's younger, but I didn't even realize he was a free agent. He's a very nice corner.
I will say, I love the idea of them getting Keanu Neal because Keanu Neal fits Salah's defense like a glove perfectly, and you pair him with May.
Who played together in Florida.
Yeah, exactly. They were teammates in Florida. They were very good friends, too, when they played together. So I think when you do, and they're with the new defensive coordinator for the Jets. He played with him in Atlanta. And, you can move Ashton Davis around all over the place then. You could do something like that and get creative with it a little bit and do that. I think you guys are right. I mean, there's just so many players still on them. I mean, like I said, not one single wide receiver has even been signed yet.
And you're not going to – they'll be the last. They'll be the last players off the board. Yep. I guarantee you they'll be the last players off the board.
I'm joking when I say this because I do love Hunter Henry. Dude, Hunter Henry is still available.
How about this?
We know you love Hunter Henry.
How about this? Aaron Jones got a $46 million contract. He got overpaid by the Green Bay Packers. I was so surprised because I had John who follows our show.
You signed Jamal Williams. Mm-hmm. Why don't you sign Jamal Williams and pair him with P. Ryan and Ty Johnson? Do that.
There's so many things.
Overpaying for running back.
There's so many things the Jets could do, and I know, again, it's still very, very early. Free agency started, 5-6 hours ago? And I will say that, and I will say,
guys get deals.
I will say this. I was very surprised that the Patriots made the moves as early as they have. I've never seen the Patriots right off the line. Well, I don't think they panicked. I think
they did because Brady won the Super Bowl. So they're trying to.
I don't think that correlates.
Get away from the fans.
I don't think that had anything to do with it.
Trying to take away from the fans.
I think Matthew Judon was a guy that they were gunning for. I think Smith was a guy that they were gunning for. And they didn't want any of these teams, especially the Jets with Matthew Judon, where a lot of people thought that the Jets were very interested in Matthew Judon, to not make the move. Now, Carl is saying the Jets will blow it. Now, and listen, I am not going to take shots at this organization yet, because Joe Douglas, even though in the last 2 years he's been here, he has not made some good moves when it came to free agency. But I like what he's done in the draft. And he already came out and said that he is going to build this team around the draft. It's all, when you're a good team, you build around the trenches. You build around youth and young players throughout the draft. If you're going to overextend your team and overextend the money that is in your pockets in free agency, you're going to set your team back for 3 or 4 years. If the Jets are 1 or 2 players away, maybe next year, to be a Super Bowl contender, then you have the money to make those moves to make you a Super Bowl contender. If you're going to overexhaust your team and pays a guy like Thuney $80 million or Lindley $62 million, and then you go after a Juju Smith-Schuster and give him $50 million, you're going to set your team back if these guys are not the right fit, or they're not the players that you thought they were when they came to the team. We've seen it with Antonio Holmes. We saw it with Braylon Edwards. We've seen it with other players that have come to this organization year in and year out, who really didn't produce for this team and this organization.
And we've seen it with past Patriots offensive linemen, too. The Giants making one of those big mistakes 3 years ago.
Well, really quick, I know you guys got to run.
No, you can stay on.
Quick.
Yeah.
Oh, you want? Okay.
You could stay on. Yeah, you could stay on. Yeah.
I do know that.
You could stay on. Yeah.
Andre Drummond. You like this idea, Arrow? Andre Drummond in the Knicks. You like this idea?
No, I don't. I don't. And I'm if this does happen, okay, and it seems like it might happen. I would say Mitchell Robinson is gone. They're going to. They're going to move Mitchell Robinson. And it just seems like that's what they're probably pushing to do. Now, the only reason why a lot of Knicks fans won't argue Andre Drummond, because Andre Drummond is one of the best centers in basketball. He's a very good defender, especially in the paint. He's still fairly young. He's 27, 28 years old. And you can build around a Randall, a Drummond, and obviously an R.J. Barrett. You need a point guard. You need a guard. You need a guy that can really solidify this team.
You could then trade. Yeah, but you could. So the thing is, you could trade Robinson for a point guard. But the thing is, too, is Noel has played pretty well.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's almost made the center position in Thibodeau's system almost expendable.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it is, because Noel has exceeded expectations.
He's playing well. And remember, he was a top 5 pick.
Great.
He's a top 5 pick.
And that's the thing, but he never showed himself. That was the problem. He was very scrawny when he came out of college. He was not really ever a great shooter. That was what it was. He was an interior defender that was a good rebounder and a good shot blocker, right? That was what he was when he came out. They thought his shooting could develop, and it didn't. It seems like Kenny Payne has really gotten a hold of, course, the Kentucky connection. And we always talk about Kenny Payne. I just don't feel like people are giving enough credit to Mike Woodson and what he brings, and the veteran coaching that he brings for this defense.
Well, I will say this.
We're always giving Thibodeau and Payne, compliments, and I feel like Woodson never gets his respect.
I will say this.
The veteran coach that has
I will say this, the way Kenny Payne has really rebuilt Julius Randle and some of these Kentucky players, he's going to get an opportunity to coach. I really do. There are going to be organizations looking at Kenny Payne as the future head coach of some of these organizations, maybe even a college team, maybe Kentucky if Calipari decides to step away. So it's so interesting, and I want to get back to football because we can get into the Knicks in a little bit later in the show. I just think that the way the Knicks are trying to rebuild this team, they're going to try to rebuild now, and they're going to try to win now. And with the Eastern Conference as weak as it is, they have a chance. They really do. The beast of the East right now is the Brooklyn Nets. Everybody knows that, the way James Harden is playing. Some people are saying that he should be the MVP of the league, which I think is outrageous and crazy. But some people say that he should be. But all in all, they're the beast of the East. And with Joel Embiid falling and he might miss a significant amount of games. And even Milwaukee is not the same team that we thought they were going to be starting the season, being that they were the best team in the East for the last 2 years. And the Celtics, I am very surprised that you're hearing Andre Drummond's name coming off the Knicks' lips because he would fit like a glove with the Boston Celtics. And for some reason, the Boston Celtics are not they're not really snapping their fingers and making that move. Well, that really could solidify them and winning the East. So I have no idea what the Boston Celtics are doing.
Can I give you guys 2 free agent updates?
Go ahead.
That's cool.
Go ahead.
Packers are talking AJ Green, which is fascinating, and the Patriots signed Nelson Aguilar to a 2-year, $26 million deal.
$13 million a year for Aguilar. Oh, jeez.
Money around like it's nobody's business.
I like the first 2 signings New England made. I'm not crazy about Aguilar for that contract.
Many other than Judon, none of the signings really even excite me that much.
Well, I think the Patriots are trying to make a splash. They're trying to solidify themselves after what happened last year. I don't think it had anything to do with Tom Brady winning a Super Bowl. I really don't. I think it has a lot to do with where this team was last year with the COVID-19, all the players deciding to sit out. And I do believe Bill Belichick maybe has a year or 2 years left, and then he's going to give the team to Josh McDaniels, and he's going to run the team all the way to the ground. And that's what a lot of people believe.
But the Packers with AJ Green, though, I find that to be very fascinating because what it does is you have a nice little duo with him and Adams.
And he's the type of receiver the Packers have always been good with, more that physical but also quick on the line receiver.
He's a big body guy that would be good in the red zone. That's something because you guys saw it in the playoffs. All Rodgers did in the red zone was show it to Devontae Adams every single time. That's all he did. He needs a big body receiver to help him out to get some of the pressure off of Adams. The
only two teams that really have made the big splashes today are the Patriots and obviously the Kansas City Chiefs. Those are the only 2 teams that
Oakland
really,
if they get Ngakoue.
Yeah, they are getting Ngakoue, but we don't know what they're going to, how much they're going to give him.
You know, players get back out of this. We start with Anthony Barr and the Jets, right, Errol?
Yes. And thank God. Thank God. Could you imagine? Could you imagine what the Jets would be dealing right now with Anthony Barr and C.J. Mosley?
So upset. I was so upset when I heard that they were signing Barr as a pass rusher. I said he was not even that much of a pass rusher.
Yeah, he's not just a pass ruscher. He's better than that.
What the hell are they doing? And now they're restructuring that contract. Meanwhile, the pass rusher in Minnesota, I forget his name, he wants to be traded.
Danielle Hunter?
That came out today.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He wants to be traded.
Well, again, that's surprising because he just got a nice contract too, and Hunter really only struggled because, again, they had no one else around him, so he was being double-teamed. Then him being a smaller guy, that's a lot harder for them to do. So unless they aren't committing to get another pass rusher, then it really doesn't make much sense, unless maybe something's going on with that defense and with Zimmer. I don't know.
I don't know what it is. You know what it is? It's just people I think we're just so used to the first 24, 48 hours of the tampering period where guys are signing left and right. But it's very weird now because this free agent class, which was supposed to be, I guess, okay, turned into a really, really deep class because a lot of teams were cutting costs. And guys are just not – I haven't heard like I said, I haven't heard a single peep. I mean, I've heard the Jets have contacted Schuster. I've heard that they've contacted Gallup. But they're not signing.
It's smart.
There's so many
Why is it?
I agree.
It's smart.
I agree with
Joe
that.
Douglas, what he is doing is he's playing the market. And what he's doing is he's using everybody against one another. And when it comes down to it, with the money he has and the money that he has to spend, he can attack. He can attack the players that he wants, that fits his team and his culture that he wants to build for this organization. I think bringing in Robert Saleh and Mike LaFleur, he really has solidified a culture where he thinks the team is going to be in the future. Now, the question is, what big splash are they going to make first that is going to solidify this offseason for them? Are they going to bring in a pass rusher? Are they going to bring in an offensive lineman? Are they going to bring in a wide receiver or corner like a Richard Sherman? Even though it's not a big slam dunk because he's an older player, he's a guy that could solidify that secondary and help out in that secondary. And also, are the Jets going to...
I'd rather Griffin than Sherman.
Are the Jets?
I think you should want Jackson over both of them.
Or the Jets? Are the Jets going to bring in a running back that is available? Now, Aaron Jones got overpaid. I've said this. I'm giving him a $47 million contract, $14 million. The guy didn't show up in the playoffs.
Offers on the market. And he took a pay cut, it was reported, to stay in Green Bay.
Well, good for him, because I don't want him. I thank God the Jets didn't offer him anything. And I really don't think the Jets offered Thuney money. I don't think the Jets offered Lingley anything either. I think he has a plan.
They said they weren't interested in Lingley. They said they weren't interested in Lindsley.
Yep.
They said they didn't have any interest in him, and with Thuney, they said they offered him something, and they stuck to the offer.
I think they have a plan. I really do. I think the Jets have a plan. And I think in thought, they're going to wait until a lot of these teams throw a lot of money to these players, and then they're going to snatch the guys out on a cheaper price. And that's something that the Baltimore Ravens have done over the years. We've seen that with the Patriots. They've done that over the years. Why have the Patriots been successful all those years? Why have the Saints over the years been successful? They didn't overpay players. The only people they overpaid was their own players. That was it. And that's what the Jets need to do. They need to build around the draft and overpay their own players. If they think that this player is a player of the future where they can build around these players, then you give them the money that you want. And besides that, Deshaun Watson is still available. To bring Deshaun Watson in, you still have to keep that cap available to bring him in, to make that kind of trade, to bring in a guy that you're paying $140, $130 million. So the Jets have to be very smart in free agency.
And where did Joe Douglas come from?
Baltimore.
What tree did he come from?
The Baltimore
He came
Ravens.
From Ozzie Newsome, who he knows as well as anybody. He learned from Ozzie Newsome where you don't pay big money players, and when it's time to cut bait with them, like they did with C.J. Mosley, like they did with Matthew Judon, like they've done with other guys, you let them go.
So
you let them, and you replenish and you replace.
So
And that's how you do it.
So
that's
Carl-
how you could build it.
Carl actually has asked, Breeze retires, what do the Saints do? That's actually very interesting, and that could be a benefit for the Jets.
You
That
saw
could be
what
a
they
Sam
did.
Darnold
You saw what they
destination.
did. You saw what they did.
Sam Darnold.
They did. No, you saw what they did. They gave what's his name again? $140 million. You didn't see what they did?
Oh, Lattimore?
No, They
But they could cut him. Even none of it's guaranteed. They could cut him after this if they want to. They could cut. I think Winston's going to be the guy.
Really?
I think it's going to be Jameis. I do.
Well, you think he's earned it at this point? I mean, it's tough to tell right now.
I will say this: when he did play in spots this time, listen, I know I'm not the biggest Winston fan. I know you guys aren't either. But when he has played, I'm going to trust Sean Payton. I think he's earned the right to be trusted with this because he's a very good coach. So it's like, everybody, like, look, if I'm saying I trust Robert Saleh, who's never coached a day in his life, I'm gonna trust Sean Payton's decision. And if Sean Payton feels that Jameis Winston is the guy that's going to lead him,
Well, hold on. They just paid somebody else a lot of money. They didn't pay Jameis Winston. They paid Taysom Hill. They paid Taysom Hill $140 million. They just gave it. It came out last night that they're paying him $140 million. Is he worth $140 million?
No, not even
he's
close.
not, but you see, that's the thing. They restructured that contract, guys, where they could just cut him, and none of the money is guaranteed. That's why they did it that way.
Still,
they
though,
basically said to Hill, either you play well, or we're cutting, and you're not getting any of this money. And listen, Taysom Hill sucked when he played.
Yeah.
This is terrible when he played.
Well,
they're so cash
getting a
strapped
lot
as
of
it
money.
is, and why are they doing that?
He's getting a lot of money, and that's what we've seen. I don't care if it came out the other day, came out last night that they're going to give Taysom Hill a $140 million contract, which is outrageous because he's getting a contract that Deshaun Watson is getting. Is he anywhere close to what Deshaun Watson is? No. And as far as Carl was also saying, how about the Dolphins trading for Shaq Lawson? I think that's a good move for the Dolphins.
That's a great move. They got Benardrick McKinney, who's a nice middle linebacker.
Even though I don't think they need defense, I think they need more offense. I think they need wide receiving help.
Well, I will say, we all harp on the Jets and them not doing anything. Well, the Colts and the Jaguars also have a ton of cap, and they haven't done anything either.
The Colts
So
have a track
why-
record the
why-
last 3 years. They haven't done anything with a lot of money.
And the Colts are right there. I mean, the Colts are right there. They need a wide receiver because T.Y. Hilton is a free agent. And they haven't signed anybody. So why is everybody making fun of mocking the Jets, doing what they usually
Because
do?
it's the
Ah,
Jets.
the Jets haven't done
Because
anything.
it's the Jets. Because we're in the New York market, so
That's
that's...
another thing.
It's the
But
Jets.
The Colts are way closer than the Jets are in competing, guys. They're almost
Yeah.
Super Bowl contenders.
Right.
If they built a team of
They
one,
need a
and they haven't
receiver
done
and
a-
an edge
they haven't done a damn
rushing.
thing.
That's really it.
Yeah, rusher. Speedy, they need a wide receiver for Carson Wentz.
And edge rushing, I think they
But
need as well,
they don't have a
too.
receiver for Carson Wentz.
But again,
Who's
it
the number
just
one
must be the
receiver
market
right
they're in. And obviously, Jacksonville, they're not going to get any attention because nobody pays attention to them anyway.
Well, that's the thing. Well, Jacksonville's a mess in itself. They can't even get coaching hires correctly. So that's besides the point.
I think-
mean, it's a freaking joke.
I think when you look at the open market and where the market is going, it's going to follow all the way to Jacksonville, to the Jets, to the Colts. I think what the Jets are doing right now is they're leaning back and they're not going to overexhaust the money that's in their pocket. I don't think they're going to do that. I think the Jets are going to make quality moves. It's not going to be the head-scratching moves that we've seen the Jets have done with Mike McCagnon and John Isnick and all the other guys, the Tannenbaums, overpaying players that don't deserve the money that they're getting. So I think that in the big picture, look at the Giants. The Giants haven't done anything. They're in a load of trouble. They lose Zietler. Mm-hmm. He goes elsewhere. He was their best offensive lineman. They lose into free agency. And where are the Giants going? They haven't done anything.
And who knew McKinney was available? I would have loved them to trade for Benadryl McKinney. They need middle linebacker.
I mean, it's just a wacky situation right now where everybody's jumping off the bridge.
Now, and I'm listening. Anthony Carragher says because when the Jets done anything right, that led to a winning choice. And then Carl says, because it's the Jets, dude, they always blow it when they make a move. Now,
says the guy who's a Bears fan.
Now, hold on one second. This is a different organization. It's run completely different, okay? Joe Douglas didn't overspend on offensive line help last year, did he? Did he overpay Font? No, he didn't. Did he overpay McGovern? No. They were workable contracts where he can actually drop those contracts and add to the new offensive line. He was right on the left tackle last year. Obviously, we saw what Becton is. Becton is the only guy that really stands out on that offensive line moving forward. But the Jets have the money to rebuild. They have the draft stock in the next couple of years. And right now, they're sitting at number 2. And if they really want to trade out of that pick, they can really solidify their next 2 or 3 years in the draft by just making one move. So all the Jet fans and all the people going crazy right now saying that the Jets haven't done this and the Jets haven't done that and what are the Jets going to do? I think people just need to sit back and let things happen. It is so early in free agency. It's so early in free agency.
How. That's why. They don't know how. They don't know how because what frustrates me is, and I've had this, I know obviously you guys are the Weapons Hot crew. Yep. I always talk to like CJ and all those guys. And Jimmy and I are on the same page with this. And we were trying to tell CJ and all this. Like, you always talk about, you want to build in free agency. Building in free agency, one, is the worst idea possible because we saw it 2 years ago. The Jets got CJ Mosley,
horrible,
Le'Veon Bell.
Horrible.
They Anthony Barr, and then they got out Jamison Crowder. They got all these guys. Everything. That's it. The Jets are going to win 11 games. They're going to compete with the Patriots. It's done. That's it. They're going to be the next big thing. Horrible. It was a disaster. They were in cap hell for the last 2 or 3 years because of this nonsense.
And now
you can't build a team through free. You can't in the NFL. It's impossible.
Well, the 2011 Eagles, the best example of that, the quote unquote dream team.
You have to look. You have to look at what is available still. Speedy, if you pull out the availability of some of these players, there's a load of linebackers. There's a load of running backs, wide receivers, pass rushers, defensive linemen, offensive guards, the interior. There's a load of interior help. There's great tight ends still available. Hunter Henry being one of them.
Oh, your boy, Josh.
Jared Cook, Kyle Rudolph. There are good players.
Don't do it, Errol. Don't do it. Don't do it.
What?
Don't do it.
Do what?
Don't get me excited. Don't get me excited. Don't get me excited now.
Oh, here's another one I forgot about too. Gabe Jackson, very underrated as a guard too.
Carl says, great points, Errol, but the Jets have always had picks and blown it. So the track record makes them an easy target. Yes, the track record. But here's the thing. Hold on. Joe Douglas last year had one of the best drafts drafts last year in all of with all the teams in the NFL. Now, I understand Joe Douglas has not really made the right choices for the Jets in the last 2 years in free agency. Obviously, we've seen it. Desir, I said this over and over again. Pierre Desir was a guy that he brought in last year to a 3-year deal. He completely choked. They got rid of him before the season ended. They dropped him. So he has not had a good track record so far as the GM of the New York Jets in free agency. But when it comes to the draft, this guy is a great talent evaluator. Everything that we've heard about this guy,
you can't compare them.
The evaluation of what he does when it comes to looking for players, and being that it's a COVID-19 season and that a lot of players didn't really have a season. A matter of fact, there were about 25, 30 teams that didn't even play one game this year. And there are going to be so many defensive linemen, offensive linemen that we didn't get a chance to see this year, that everybody says this is not a defensive line draft. How much you want to bet that we're going to see defensive linemen get drafted in the 4th and 5th round that are going to be all pro players, pro ball players? I wouldn't be surprised. So I know a lot of people are taking shots at where the Jets are and they don't have a good track record, which they don't. And I'm a Jet fan, and I'll be honest to tell you, they don't have a good track record. But where they position themselves now in free agency with the money they have and the draft stock that they have for the next 2 or 3 years, they have really solidified themselves as a contender and where they are in the division that they are. The Patriots are a win-now team. If the Patriots don't win in the next 2 or 3 years, they're an older team. They're not a young team. The Jets are a young team. The Buffalo Bills are a young team. The Miami Dolphins are a young team. The Patriots are a veteran team. That's why Thuney, even though he's 26, 27 years old, they weren't going to re-sign him because they weren't going to pay him $80 million. They've got to have a lot of other holes they have to fill moving forward.
They never pay their offensive linemen.
You know what I'm saying?
Meanwhile, the Patriots signed Kendrick Bourne for 3 years and $22.5 million. Like, what the?
Kendrick Bourne? Really?
What the hell are the Patriots doing?
Okay, there's one flaw. They really don't know how to find receivers, I guess.
This is just like, I don't even understand. Like, I've gotten to the point where I'm like, this is over exceeding what the Jets have done. I mean, this is like, it's almost like because Bill Belichick has never had this kind of money. So he's just like, I'm going to do a free-for-all and just go crazy.
Apparently. Kendrick Bourne, I'm looking at a list right now from Sporting News. He's not even in the top 18 receivers.
It's ridiculous. It's crazy. It's so ridiculous. But you know what? I trust Douglas. I hate that people go backwards with the McCagnon and the track record.
He is not McCagnon. He's not McCagnon.
It's not. It's Dick. He's not these guys. Wait, what team does Carl like?
He's a Bears fan.
He's a Bear fan, and I will say this. I will say this: the Bears did the right thing. They tagged Allen Robinson, which they should. I think they should trade Allen Robinson because they can get a lot back for him right now.
They could get a haul from him.
They could possibly get 2 first-round draft picks for Allen Robinson because there's not a wide receiver right now in free agency that's anywhere close to the talent of Allen Robinson right now. So, being that he is available, they should move him, try to over attack this move and get as many draft picks as they can possibly get for a guy like Allen Robinson. But the Bears are a team that's a win-now team, too. Now you're hearing Russell Wilson come out, it's starting to really come out that Russell Wilson wants out with Seattle, and the Bears are the leading team to get him. And if the Bears do get Russell Wilson, even though I think the offensive line is bad,
it's horrendous.
Their defense is really that good, and Russell Wilson will make that offense a lot better. Allen Robinson was good last year with Nick Foles and Trubisky. Could you imagine him with Russell Wilson? So this team, and they still have a good running game. They still have good options on the defensive side of the ball. Where adding Russell Wilson could really solidify your team as a Super Bowl contender, especially in that division with the Green Bay Packers. And we don't even know if Aaron Rodgers wants to stay there or if they're going to move Aaron Rodgers in free agent, in the market right now. Because I wouldn't be surprised, even though nobody is talking about it, that Aaron Rodgers gets traded this offseason. I could see it because.
That's a cheap deal for Ngakoue, by the way.
I'm sorry?
2 years for $26 million for Ngakoue.
Wow, that's very low. I'm surprised. Yeah, that's a bargain.
Very low. I think the Jets should have jumped on that one.
That's a great deal. Wow, you wouldn't expect the Raiders to do that. The Raiders are a team that notoriously overpay for people. Wow.
I know. You know what? I think the Jets should have jumped in on that
Watch
one.
out for Miami. Watch out for the Dolphins because I think the Dolphins are 2 or 3 moves away from being a Super Bowl contender. I know Tua. We don't know what Tua is, and I don't think Tua is going to be the quarterback next year. I really don't. I think Deshaun Watson is lurking in the weeds right now, and it's either the Jets or the Dolphins. That's where he's going. And if I were to pull a name out of the hat, it's probably going to be the Dolphins. That's where I think Deshaun Watson is heading. I don't think it's the New York Jets or the organization because I don't know if a guy like Joe Douglas is going to throw away draft stock for a player as good as Deshaun Watson. I don't think he's that type of guy. I don't.
So here's what you do. Then. You could give Seattle back their 20 that pick for Jamal Adams.
23rd
for Russell Wilson. Get Jamal Adams. You could do that.
I don't know. I really think the Jets are going to draft a quarterback in the draft. I really do.
I think they're going to draft Wilson.
I know that's what you want, but I think it's either him or Justin Fields. I still think that they're sitting on the whole Sam Darnold thing, and I think they should. I really do. I think that.
I told you what they should do. I
What?
told you what they should do. Is
What?
they should trade back with. You could trade with Atlanta, or you could trade with Carolina, and you could still draft Fields, and you could get a haul of draft picks.
Maybe, but
You can
the
build
Dolphins
even more
pick
around
also
Fields.
comes into play
If
too.
the
If you
Jets,
risk that.
if the Jets trade back, they are probably going to bring Sam Darnold back. It makes a lot of sense.
If they sign Juju, I definitely think they're bringing Sam back.
Well, if they do bring Juju, yes, I
If they
do.
bring Juju, if they bring in Juju Mamalulu, and then they're definitely going to. That's definitely going to. Like I said, that definitely gives the okay to Darnold. Okay, you're back because your college roommate is with you. And everything
I
like
will
that.
say
But,
this, like you said, the Dolphins. I said the Dolphins, but here's another team that now that Ngakoue went to the Raiders are a team that's they want to win now, and especially adding Ngakoue to that defensive line, where this is a defense that did not play well last year. The Raiders were a very bad defensive team last year. Now you add an edge rusher. You add an edge rusher, and then you go into the draft. You add a little bit more help on the edges in free agency or secondary in the market when it comes to the draft.
They should spend on William Jackson. That should be their
I
number one move.
I think the Raiders are going to be a dangerous team in free agency this year. I think Kansas City making the move for Thuney and getting rid of their offensive tackles, that was crazy. Especially last year, what we saw in the Super Bowl and how many times Mahomes got killed. You're adding Thuney, a guard, to a team that really needs to solidify the edges, because that is where teams start to attack Mahomes. They try to get him on the edges, not in the interior, because Mahomes is so elusive. He can move inside and out. So I was very surprised that they overpaid for Thuney. It didn't really make any sense.
Guys, I gotta run now. I just want to say that first of all, Errol, I'll talk to you after the show.
Absolutely,
for sure. We need to catch up. You know that. And I'm glad you're doing well.
Yeah.
And again, I just wanted to. Speedy did a great job the other day.
Yep.
Speedy, how'd your tidy whitey signing go at Comac in Walmart? I marketed the crap out of that thing.
I let a ghost take it over for me.
A ghost?
Yes.
A ghost? What are you, Sam Darnold? You see things now?
Well,
maybe
he well, obviously we know he can't see something down below. I can't even laugh right now because of my neck.
Oh my God!
Oh,
well, I was
man.
trying to get to the joke a little bit with the Juju Mama Lulu joke, but I guess
It's hard. It's hard for me to laugh because every time I talk, I can't really scream. The doctor told me I have to be very, very careful on how I move my neck and how I speak because I can open up the stitches and all that other stuff. But I'm happy to be back.
I remember when I had it, man. You go through the front, and I had a C5, C6 of both discs in my spinal cord, man.
Yeah.
So I remember it, but I'll let you guys continue on. I'm going to keep listening for sure. You guys are killing it.
Thank you, Josh.
And I'm glad you're healthy. I'm glad you're
Thank you.
back. I'm glad you're feeling good. And I'll come by at some point this week. We'll catch up and talk.
Absolutely.
And I'll bring Millie over, and you can hang out with her.
How wonderful.
All right?
How wonderful.
How wonderful. Oh, don't even go there. You love my dog. Are you kidding me?
I'm just messing
You're
around.
so full of it. You love the dog.
I love dogs. I'm not a cat fan. Thanks, Josh.
Over. She gets so excited when she sees you. Are you kidding me?
As long as she doesn't jump and
you
hurt
know
my
that.
neck, we'll be good.
What? Doesn't do that. All right, guys, be good. I'll talk to you later. All right. Don't forget
Thank you.
to check out Off the Mat tomorrow. We got Phil back on the show tomorrow. I know you like him. So
Awesome.
We got him
Awesome.
back on the show tomorrow. Yeah. So he'll be on tomorrow with us. But take care, guys. I'll talk to you later. All right.
Josh from Off the Mat and the Weekend Crunch, and he's going to be joining our show. We are restructuring Below the Mic and Down to the Wire to one show, and we're actually going to call it Sports Loudmouths, and we're going to be doing the show Mondays and Wednesdays on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. I think you guys are going to really, really like the show. I think the craziness, if you guys listen to the Weekend Crunch, you're going to have the opportunity to listen to it twice a week on our network. It's going to be really, really funny. So definitely stay tuned. It will be starting in April. So definitely look forward for that. But getting back into free agency, there's so many moves. There's so many there's so many things that could happen in the next couple of days that could really solidify some of these teams to being Super Bowl contenders. Obviously, we've seen the Tampa Bay Buccaneers bringing back Barrett. We expected that, getting a $73 million contract. I think he was overpaid, but
Maybe
pass
a
rush,
little, but not too badly. Where that's a hurt for them. Plus, we know he fits their scheme too.
With being a pass rusher and being a guy that is probably the best player that was available in free agency, you have to overpay a player of that magnitude. Now, Trey Hendrickson is a guy that everybody keeps talking about, an edge rusher, a 4-3 edge rusher that would fit like a glove with the New York Jets. It's not going to be just the Jets making a move for him. Right. There are other teams. I've heard the Broncos, the Denver Broncos are another team that are interested in him. Miami might be interested in him. Even the Oakland Raiders, even though they added Ngakoue, they have money to spend. They could bring in Hendrickson too.
I think the Raiders are still going to be prioritizing more of the secondary at this point because they still have Max Crosby and Cleveland Farrell, who are both nice young players on the edges. They just needed that primary guy to go with it because they're both kind of like number 2 pass rushers. Mm-hmm. They really need to get secondary help though, big time. William Jackson should be a high priority target for them. They have okay safeties. They're not terrible, but corners. Ever since they got rid of Gary and Conley, I mean, you're trusting your best corner is Trayvon Millen, who's a solid player, but he's nothing more than an average number 2.
And Ryan Kerrigan, who he has been a very good edge rusher over the years with the Washington football team. He's a veteran player. He's a guy that the Jets should definitely look at. A guy that you can bring in the 4-3 defense. Interior, you can use him in all different positions to get at the quarterback. And I think that those are the kind of moves that the Jets can make that could really, really show up in the middle of the season if the Jets are a contender to make the playoffs this year. Now, making 2 or 3 or 4 moves is not going to make the Jets a contender. The Jets are more than 4 or 5 moves away from being a playoff contender. But with C.J. Mosley coming back, Quinn Williams really making the splash that he did in his second 2.5 years being in the NFL, and some of the different players that we saw last year, the Marcus Mays of the world, and some of the defensive young prospects that the Jets have showed up with Ashton Davis and all those type of talent, the Jets are really solidifying through the draft. Now, there are a lot of teams that are going to build around free agency. We've seen it year in and year out. And those are the Super Bowl contenders. Those are the teams like the Kansas City Chiefs, I guess you could say
Ravens.
The Ravens, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the teams that have been good for year in and year out. So there are teams right now that are going to try to make as many splashes as they can in free agency. But I'm going to tell you right now, all these big contracts, all the signings that we've seen so far early and overpaid players, as the days go by, you're going to see these contracts get less and less and less because I don't think a lot of these teams are going to overpay these players in free agency. So I think that when you look at guys like Xavier Rhodes, who is going to be an easy sell to a lot of teams because he's a player that showed last year that he could still play the position, and you could bring him as a veteran player like the Jets and pay him $1 to $2 million a year, you can really solidify that other side of the field, which the Jets have had problems ever since Darrelle Revis and obviously Cromartie. So there are a lot of things that some of these teams could do that really could solidify this team moving forward.
Oakland, you should be looking at that too, especially that kind of bargain for Xavier Rhodes as well, because he's not going to make much either. And he had a very good year in a decent system with the Colts, obviously with Eberflus, so obviously a big difference, but still on the younger side too. I think he's only 29, 30 years old, so he still has maybe 3 years left where that can make a difference as well.
And Eric Martini says it's pathetic that the Jets didn't sign Thuney. Eric, I hope Eric's listening to the show because I'm going to give you some information. When was the last guard to get paid over $20 million?
And when was the last Patriots offensive lineman that was good on another team?
I'm just asking you. When was the last guard that got paid $20 million? The answer is, I don't remember. Why would the Jets, if the Jets made that move, Trubisky goes to the Washington football team. So, which is a good move, I think, for Washington. Washington needs a quarterback. I think a guy like Trubisky, I think he needs a new start. And going over there to Washington really can help out the team. And he's the type of guy that can move inside and out of the pocket. I think he fits very, very well over there. in that kind of offense, Speedy.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. I mean, again, he's going to have no skill players again, like he did with the Bears. McLaurin is very good as a young player, but that's really it. Kind of like what he had with Robinson, a very good wide receiver but not much after that. So that's what you're judging when you're looking at the talent with Washington. But winnable division for them for sure, because the NFC East is horrible right now, and I'm saying that as a Giants fan, even though they did better than I expected last year. But I mean, maybe it's a chance for him to get back. But again, they need the offensive coaching around them too, which I'm not sure if Washington has. They're still kind of old school when it comes to that regard with that.
All right. Eric Martini says Jets did crap. Pathetic Jets. They have all the money and the Pats are going on a spending spree, getting better. Are you going to defend this? Can you admit you're a little let down? Thuney gone? No, I'm not let down because it's still early. The Jets could still make a splash. They could still get offensive line help. We've been talking about the kid from the Chargers, Turner, who could really solidify that offensive line. You put him on the other side of the ball. Now, you can add wide receiving help, which the Jets have lacked over the last couple of years as a number one wide receiver. Juju Smith-Schuster is still available. There are still availability in this year's draft with the wide receiving as good as it is going into the draft this year. So the Jets are not... I'm not let down where the Jets are. I'm really not. Now, are the Jets the only team that people are standing out and taking shots at? No, the Miami Dolphins haven't done anything yet either. I mean, the Dolphins, everybody keeps saying the Dolphins are 3 players away from being a Super Bowl contender. Yeah, a lot of people have said it.
Really?
Yes. Are you watching the NFL Network?
Jeez.
A bunch of people have said it. Now, obviously, they need to figure out what they're going to do at the quarterback position. But if Deshaun Watson becomes available, I really don't think he's going to be a Jet. I think there's a better chance Deshaun Watson going to Miami than the New York Jets because I don't see a guy like Joe Douglas really trading away their future for one player.
The Dolphins, though, I think need a lot more on offense than a lot of people realize. They got a little better with the offensive line, and I like the trade for McKinney, but still,
they have 2 first-round draft picks. They can solidify that wide receiving.
Yeah, they should be able to, again, with I would imagine Devontae Smith if Tua staying, and if Tua gets traded, maybe then they go Jamar Chase and throw us a curveball. But yeah, if they don't get maybe trade back or they end up making an option with that, yeah, it's definitely possible. But I think they still need more than just one receiver because Devontae Parker can't stay healthy, and then what else do they have beyond that? Preston Williams after that?
They have 2 first-round draft picks. They have 2 second-round draft picks this year. They can really solidify their wide receiving, especially the depth of the wide receivers this year's draft. And Carl says, wait it out, man. Good Lord. Free agency is a longer window than a day. And I agree.
Taking shots at Eric.
Absolutely. Why are Jet fans jumping off a plank because the Jets haven't made a move yet? The Jets are going to be very careful on what they're going to throw out there in free agency, especially the way Joe Douglas handles these contracts. He is not going to over-exaggerate and pay these guys $80, $90 million, and this guy gets hurt like Thuney, and he's out for the season and really sets the team back.
We have a Beeve sighting.
All right, just put the Beeve on. Let's hear what the Beeve has to say. Beeve, what's going on, man?
What's up, my friend?
What would you like to talk about?
Well, I hear you guys talking about free agency and everything. So my question is to you guys, where is Zach Ertz going to wind up?
That's a good question. I think there's a good chance he can go to the Cowboys. That's a place that a lot of people have been, his name's been brought up. Another team, I don't think the Jets, and I know a lot of Jet fans, why don't the Jets make a move for Zach Ertz? Doesn't make any sense. Here's another team, the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals with a guy like Joe Burrows.
I don't think the Eagles would trade with the Cowboys.
Well, I think they're going to release him. I think they're going to drop his contract. I think they can.
Really? So can they?
Yes, they can. I think they.
I don't know.
I think he signed a 4-year deal or a 5-year deal with them. I think after 2 years they can release him, and I think they're going to try to move him. And I think a lot of teams with the injuries that Zach Ertz has had the last couple of years, and he can't stay on the field, I think they're going to release him because I don't think they're going to be able to afford his contract.
They're not going to get much for him either.
No,
the year he had last year.
No, what are they going to get, a 5th round draft pick for him?
Right. I think maybe you're looking at a 5th.
Well, I think they're asking too much.
What, a 5th round draft pick?
No.
A 5th round pick is not much, but yeah, you're not paying for the past.
What I'm saying is the Eagles are asking too much.
What are they asking for? I haven't heard anything. What are they asking for? Because they're not getting a first round or second round for him.
No. I don't know. I don't know what they're asking for, but there was an article saying that according to a source, that they were asking for too much.
Well, yeah, Howie Roseman is notoriously stingy. That's not
And
surprising.
I don't know, and I don't know how much is too much. Like I don't know. They didn't go into detail in the article. It just
They
said were
shouldn't. They
asking for
shouldn't.
too much.
Another team trying to acquire Ertz shouldn't trade any more than a fourth.
Yeah, I agree because of his injuries. I mean, the guy
Yeah, he's an older player. He's 32 now. And
Carl says Ertz could go to the Falcons.
No.
There's a lot of places that Ertz can go to. You could say the Jets, you could say the Dolphins, you could say a lot of teams. The Dolphins are looking for a tight end, an elusive tight end, a veteran tight end to help Tua out. Because I still believe that if they can't get Deshaun Watson, Tua will be the starting quarterback for the Dolphins next year. I think the passing up on a guy like Justin Herbert and then with the jersey sales and the popularity of a guy like Tua, I still think that they believe that Tua could still be the quarterback of the future for that organization. But Mitchell Trubisky going to Washington, that's a very interesting move for Washington. I think Mitchell Trubisky just needs a new start. I still think Mitchell Trubisky could be a good quarterback in this league if they put the right players around him. And Washington is another team. Washington's another team that could be interested in a guy like Zach Ertz, who's playing in the
Arizona,
division.
another one to watch out for because they could also use him as a blocker too to help up that offensive line.
Yeah. But again, if the Eagles release him, I mean, he's probably going to get like.
They're going to release him. They're not going to get much for him. They're going to release him.
When they release him, he's only going to get like a 1 or 2 year deal with it.
I think I think that if they release him, the Cowboys are going to get Zach Ertz. That's where
You really think so?
Yes, I do.
I don't know.
I think. First of all, everything that we've read, first, they haven't had a good tight end since you-know-who, okay?
Yeah, Jason Witten.
Yes. So we know that with the offensive ability that they have next year and that being that Dak Prescott's coming back, they need a blocking tight end. That's one thing. Zach Ertz is a very good blocking tight end, and he's a guy that can open up the field for some of these young wide receivers in the middle and the outside of the field. So, and Zach Ertz is like he's a big wide receiver. That's what he is. He's got wide receiver speed, and he can't stay healthy. That's the problem.
No, but I guess you have to give him a 1 year deal.
Yeah, they're going to either 1 or 2. I
1 or
would
2
imagine,
years.
just because he's 32 years old. And now,
I
he was pretty durable his whole career, but now
32 is too old.
Yeah, now the injuries, you start to worry about that with this kind of year. And even when he was playing, he was still sometimes the second guy on the field with Goddard too in that system last year. Whether that's his fault or not is another question, but it's still concerning.
I would rather the Cowboys draft Pitts in the draft if they could get him.
They're not going to be able to get Pitts unless they trade back.
Why not?
Well,
why not?
Why would they go after Pitts?
I think Pitts is going to fall out of. He's going to fall out of top 10.
Yeah, but why would the Cowboys take him when they need so much on defense?
Well, they need they need corners, but there's so many corners that are available in free agency right now. You could bring in a veteran corner like a Sherman or a Peterson, and you can go after a Pitts. Why couldn't they make a move for Pitts? I think
they would have to really do a lot on defense in order to do that first, because tight end's not really a high priority when you have 3 good receivers.
Carl says. Trubisky could be good. Ha 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 ha. I just spit up some of my dinner laughing. But
yeah, Errol's one of the last Trubisky truthers.
First of all, and I'll say this again, Chicago didn't put enough players around him to succeed.
Yes, 100%.
And they had no offensive line help. How do you expect a young quarterback to succeed when they had no offensive line help? I know Carl doesn't like him because obviously he's a Chicago Bears fan, but I think if Mitchell Trubisky goes somewhere where they can protect him or put him in a good position to succeed, he will succeed. But go ahead, Beef.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. I don't think Trubisky is as bad as people say he is. I mean, the guy's got talent. Like
he does.
You got to put people around him.
Mm-hmm. That's with any quarterback.
No, that's it. But there's some quarterbacks who make players better. But Trubisky's not one of those quarterbacks.
How do we know what he is? We haven't even seen it. The kid's only 23, 24 years old. How do we know what Mitchell Trubisky is?
I don't know. I just don't think he's that type of quarterback.
He's a baby. And I think, here's another guy that's available. Antonio Brown, who I know a lot of people say the guy's a big mouth. There are a lot of teams that should line up for an Antonio Brown, a full season of Antonio Brown. He's not the same Antonio Brown that we remember with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But if he could give you 800, 900 yards and give you about 5-6 touchdowns, there are a lot of teams that are looking for wide receivers, a.k.a. the New York Jets. I want to keep them far, far away from the Jets. But there are teams that will be I wouldn't be surprised if Kansas City tries to make a move for
He's
Antonio
going to the
Brown.
Ravens with his cousin.
Really? You think that?
I feel like it's inevitable at some point they're going to do it, just to do it.
I don't know. I think he might stay in Tampa. I don't know.
No, Tampa doesn't really need him.
No, they're not. Especially after giving, what's his name again? Chris Godwin, the money that they gave. The
franchise tag.
The franchise tag, which is a lot of money. They're paying him, what, $16, $17 million for a guy that's really a slot receiver. That's what he is. So you're paying a slot receiver. He's going to be the highest paid slot receiver in football right now. And there are a lot of good slot receivers that are going to be available in this year's draft. A lot of them that you can get later in the rounds.
I mean, I know they tagged them, but they still have time to work out a contract before June, I think, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they could do a long-term. They could do a long-term deal before that for Godwin. I don't know if they will, just because they're trying to figure out some other things. But
they might. I mean,
they could. It depends on what other bargains they can get maybe in free
Melvin Ingram is the guy that I as a Jet fan, if you can get Melvin Ingram on the cheap, if you could bring him in for a 1-year contract, a guy that could pass rush, he would fit like a glove in a 4-3 and a solid type of defense. You could bring Melvin Ingram in for $3, $4, $5 million just for a 1-year deal to prove it to me now. Because Melvin Ingram, he's been wanting out with the San Diego or LA Chargers for the last couple of years because they won't pay him. But with the injuries that he has been dealing with over the last couple of years with him and Joey Bosa, I don't think he's going to get the money that he wants. So
the only thing that concerns me with
Ingram, when I speak, you guys try to cut me off. When I stop, you guys don't talk. I mean, you guys are out of your mind.
The only thing that concerns me with Ingram is if they don't get another guy to help him, because when Bosa was hurt at different points the last 3 years, Ingram did not play well either. So you have to really maybe get the young guy first, and then maybe that would be the target to go for, or maybe 2 veteran guys too.
Here's another team. Antonio Brown going to the Bengals. The Bengals losing A.J. Green, being that Floyd is over there. They need another wide receiver. They need a veteran wide receiver. Antonio Brown over there. Burrows, they need offensive line help. I see Cincinnati they have a lot of money to spend in free agency this offseason. They need to solidify that offensive line to protect their franchise quarterback. They need to make moves.
Their fans all hate him, though, so I don't know.
Fans hate who?
Antonio Brown.
Who cares?
I'm curious to see what the Saints are going to do because they have a quarterback problem right now.
Well, by the way, I want to say something about arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. And I know a lot of people, some people didn't like Drew Brees, some people didn't like that, and when they won the Super Bowl, and that was one of the greatest runs I've ever seen a quarterback have. And he really solidified the quarterback position and the size of the quarterback position in the last 10 to 20 years. And you talk about the quarterback sizes now, and most of these quarterbacks are 6'3" or bigger, or 6'2" and taller. And Drew Brees being 5'10", 5'10 and a half, he opened the door for a Russell Wilson and the Kyler Murrays of the world. Mm-hmm. And he's opened up an opportunity for these quarterbacks to succeed. And to me, when you look at Drew Brees' numbers, they're really video game numbers. What he did, he is the only player in NFL history that didn't have one, not two, but 3 5,000-yard seasons in his career. No quarterback's ever done that. And what he did with the knee problem that he had with the San Diego Chargers, and then the Saints taking a chance, making a move, trading for him, I'm sorry, not trading him, signing him.
Signing him after the Dolphins, they failed the physical there. Yeah.
And then really solidifying what this team was, and the Saints really putting everything on him and Peyton's shoulders. Really, it's an unbelievable career. This guy is going to have a great broadcasting career. He really is. He's going to really be successful over there with NBC, working on Sunday Night Football. To me, arguably one of the top 5, top 6 quarterbacks to ever play the game. He will be missed as a quarterback. He was fun to watch, one of the most accurate quarterbacks I've ever seen, and just a fantastic player to watch. So shout out to one of the greatest quarterback careers we've ever seen in Drew Brees.
I think it's 3 of the 4 most accurate seasons when it comes to completion percentage too.
Yeah, but where do the Saints go from here?
Oh, we just talked about it.
Apparently, they decided to give Taysom Hill $140 million.
$140 million they gave him.
Oh, that's there. I didn't even look. Wow.
Yes, yesterday it was coming out that they gave him an offer. I think it was a 5-year deal worth about $140 million.
Ridiculous.
Which is a lot of money. I really. Listen, Taysom Hill had an opportunity to really show that he could be a starting quarterback in the league when Drew Brees hurt his wrist or his finger, broke his finger this past year, and he laid up a dud. He didn't. Jameis Winston looked better than him, and that's saying a lot. That's not saying a lot when it comes to Jameis Winston, because I am, like I said, I grew up a Florida State fan, and I never thought Jameis Winston was going to be any type of a good player in the league, especially as a quarterback when he was drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But Brees has been really a guy that really stood out for a lot of young quarterbacks, a lot of these small quarterbacks that are trying to get into the league and trying to prove himself. It doesn't matter how tall you are or how athletic you are. If you can make the throws and you can stand in the pocket and take the beating that we've seen Drew Brees take year in and year out, you could be successful in the league. So Drew Brees, losing a player of that magnitude, just like Peyton Manning, when we lost Peyton Manning after he won the Super Bowl with the Broncos, it was losing a guy that really changed the game.
All the balls at the line of scrimmage.
What is the word? A pioneer. A pioneer of the game. And losing a guy like Drew Brees is a significant loss for the NFL.
Innovator, especially with the way that he changed that Saints team. A lot of the creative concepts. Also, obviously, Sean Payton has a lot to do with it too, but Brees does it too. With a lot of
big part of it.
Completely random receivers too. Marcus Colston, a 7th round pick. I mean, Lance Moore, Devery Henderson. Like, he didn't, outside of Michael Thomas. Now, who did he really play with? And he really made a lot of those guys 5,000 yards in 3 separate seasons like that is extremely impressive.
He had a good tight end for a while.
Who, Drew Brees? Drew Brees has always had good tight ends.
He had Jimmy Graham for
He's
3
always had
great
Cooks.
years.
He had Jared Cook.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, they've had good tight ends. He's had good wide receivers.
But also, Beef, think about this, though, too. Jimmy Graham has not played well elsewhere, so maybe Drew Brees made him to some extent, too, though.
A lot of quarterbacks make him. Tom Brady made a lot of players. Do you think Gronkowski would have been the player he was with the Patriots if Tom Brady wasn't there? The answer is no. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, again, losing Drew Brees is going to hurt the Saints, is going to hurt the NFL and the culture of the game. But I think being that I think he's going to be a fantastic broadcaster. You see what Tony Romo is doing right now. He's making 18, 19. He's making more money as a broadcaster than he is making as a player. So I think Drew Brees is going to be just as successful. I think the guy is a smart guy. He's fun to listen to and very smart man. So I think he's going to be very successful. I'm looking forward to his next career. So like I said, it's a big loss for the NFL. But as far as what the free agency market is, there's a lot of teams that are going to stand out in the free agency market this year. And with the money that the Jacksonville Jaguars have, the Jets, Cincinnati, the Patriots, you see what the moves they're making. There are other teams. Give me the list of teams, the top 10 teams right now in free agency.
The Raiders were in that mix too.
Well, they just paid Ngakoue, and he didn't get a lot of money, which I'm very surprised Ngakoue didn't get a lot of money. But with the salary cap the way it is, there are a lot of teams that. What do you mean? Yeah, what are you talking about?
No, I said it was surprising they only 2 years, $26 million is all they got.
So who do we got?
So it's the Jags, Patriots, Jets, Colts, Bengals, Chargers, who just signed Lindsley, Washington, Dolphins, Broncos, and the 49ers. Wow, the 49ers are top 10. I'm surprised at that.
And again, the 49ers are still looking for a quarterback. I do not believe, even though Jimmy Garoppolo is there, we've heard John Lynch speak that Jimmy Garoppolo will be the starting quarterback of the team in the beginning of the season. I think it's a crock of you-know-what. I think.
Well, is that a place where Russell Wilson could go to?
Yes. Yes.
You think Seattle's going to trade with the Niners?
No, but it's a place that they can go to if they want to practically throw a guy like Bosa involved in that, because that's what they're going to need.
They're going to think about Bosa, probably Warner, and something else on that defense or something like that.
I mean,
I don't think Russell Wilson's going anywhere. I think he's.
I do. I do.
Really?
Yes, I do. I mean, it's starting to really, it's starting to really pave. It's starting to really pave, and everything that I've been reading, and especially when I was at the hospital the other day. Russell Wilson does not want to be over there in Seattle. There's something going on with the culture over there. Maybe the coaching. Pete Carroll and him maybe are just like Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. After a while, you get sick of each other. And with the success that he's had over there with Pete Carroll, maybe he wants to try to do it himself.
Yeah.
So that's the way I look at it. And now again.
Well, if he really wanted out, maybe the Cowboys made a mistake by paying back.
No, they didn't.
That trade would have made no sense for the Cowboys because the Cowboys need too much on defense. So all the extra draft picks they would have had to give away in that case, it wouldn't have been.
Do you know how many teams? You know how many teams would be lining up for Dak Prescott right now?
Yeah.
There are a ton of teams that'd be lining up for Dak Prescott right now, and to me, Dak Prescott deserves every every chance possible for the Cowboys to build around him with the weapons that they have, and they need to really solidify that defense. They overpaid Lawrence, they overpaid Jalen Smith, and to me right now, that's what they're missing. They're missing pass rush help, and their secondary stinks. It stinks.
I know the secondary stinks.
And there's a lot of good secondary free agents right now that you can get on the cheap.
That the Cowboys are going to have to make the most out of these bargains because they only have $18.8 million in cap space as of right now. Obviously, they can still cut people, but right now that's going to be hard to pay any top corner. Maybe they'll have to go for two semi-decent ones.
John Ferris, sorry, Beef. John Ferris says, you think the Jets are going to trade Mosley? The answer is no. I don't. I think everything that we've read about C.J. Mosley, how healthy he is, how good he looks right now, and he's, 15, 20 pounds lighter, and barely any body fat. I think they're going to start the season with C.J. Mosley, and I think he's going to play very, very well under the Robert Saleh defense.
Not only that, John, a lot of teams don't really need linebackers right now. It's not a big name need for a lot of these teams that have the draft picks in order to trade. Plus, again, the value for Mosley, him not playing for 2 years, him sitting out the season, whatever that whole controversy was with what he was doing, that's not going to help his value either.
No.
And Joe Douglas is only going to trade him if they can get that kind of value.
Yep.
Where I don't really see that kind of thing happening right now. Not a lot of teams need linebackers.
Okay, Beef, what were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say the Cowboys reconstructed a lot of their contracts so they can make room for the cap. So
yeah, it still only went up from 8 to 18 though.
So they're going to go after somebody. I just don't know who.
I'm listening to the Jet fans. They think they're going to jump off a plank because they haven't made any moves yet. They've got a lot of money and they got to spend a certain amount of money in free agency. That's the NFL rules.
What Joe Douglas is trying to do is he wants to make the right picks and the right moves.
No, what Joe Douglas is trying to do is he's trying to spend low. That's what he's doing. He's waiting for all these teams to overexhaust the money that they have, and there's no money available. And then these players are going to sit back and they're going to say, I'm not going to get the contract. So the Jets are going to underpay these guys and get good players for not at an expensive price, like the guys like Thuney or.
That's smart.
Well, that's smart, but Jet fans want to jump off, a bridge because they didn't make that move for Thuney. They didn't go get Lindley or any of these players. There's still guys like Turner that is available that are just as good as Thuney. You put them on that offensive line, either on the same side as Beckham or on the other side where they have a weakness over there. You could solidify your offensive line just making that move.
Yeah. Well, there's also a lot of Cowboy fans bashing the contract that Jerry gave back, but because it was a lot of money.
Who gave back? What are you talking about?
Dak Prescott, Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones paid Dak Prescott. I said, then there's a lot of Cowboy fans who were bashing Jerry Jones for giving him that big contract.
They gave Dak Prescott that big contract because if they didn't do it, somebody else would have. That's it. You think that nobody's going to pay Dak Prescott $40 million?
No.
Go look at his numbers. Go look at his numbers and compare his numbers. I'm just saying, compare his numbers to the top 10 quarterbacks in the league in the last 3 years. He is right there with the top 10 quarterbacks in the league. I don't care when he did it. I don't care if it was late in the fourth quarter or the game was over. Then when you look at his numbers are just as good as any quarterback, any of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, and that's why they paid him.
I understand that. I understand that, but they're saying that they gave him too much money.
Maybe a little too much, but not. It's not drastic. It wasn't like they gave him Mahomes money.
But if you look at the way the contract is structured, Jerry Jones can reconstruct that contract at any point, at any time he wants, and he can turn all that money to signing bonuses.
I mean, you would hope, but again, they still have a lot of money to have to work with, and a lot of defense that they need in order to really make that team not necessarily division competitive because they can still win the division, but playoff competitive where they can make a run in the NFC. That's still going to be hard with the West as good as it is, and you still got Green Bay, you still got Tampa, teams like that.
I don't think Green Bay's not going to be as good as you think they are.
They're not going to be. I don't know if they're going to be 13-3.
I don't know if Aaron Rodgers. I don't even know if Aaron Rodgers is going to be there.
As long as he's there, obviously, yeah. But
he might not be there.
I don't think he is. I'm telling you, they're going to. Everything that I've read, and they love this kid, and we talk about Jordan Love. They love him, and I do believe. They plan that Jordan Love is going to start one way or another this year. And I think if the right move or the right deal comes upon them before the draft, I could see them moving on. I wouldn't be surprised if Aaron Rodgers gets traded to the San Francisco 49ers. I wouldn't be surprised.
That would be something.
I was just about to say that, San Francisco. Yep.
John says, where do you think Galladay is going? I think there's definitely two teams that the two teams.
The
I think
Jets
that'll give
being
him
one of them.
One wide receiver, one money. The Jets are obviously one of them. I could see the team like the Eagles pushing for that because they really need receivers badly. The Ravens, another one too. They desperately need receivers, and it's really the only thing they need badly. So I could see them. I don't really want him on the Giants because I think that the Giants need more than just one receiver, and he's very injury prone and streaky. So I would not want him as a Giants fan.
The Giants need a quarterback.
Well, yeah, obviously, but the Giants still need a lot of receiving help too. Where I don't think one Galladay is really going to make.
They're not going to give up on Daniel Jones because obviously Gettleman is still there, and his career in his GM position is going to lean towards Daniel Jones. They have to put the right pieces around Daniel Jones to see what he is. They haven't done that yet. They lost Saquon Barkley early in the season last year. They had no number one wide receiver since Odell Beckham. He really never got a chance to throw to Odell Beckham. So you don't know what Daniel Jones is.
No, he wasn't there for Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham was
I'm
traded
just
that
saying.
year.
I just said that.
What if the Giants only win like 5 or 6 games this season?
Gettleman's gone.
Gettleman's gone.
And then Daniel Jones will be gone.
Yeah.
Yes.
We know that.
I think Saquon Barkley, there's a very good chance that Saquon Barkley could be traded this offseason too. I mean,
I don't know about the offseason. Maybe in season if he plays well and then they trade him at the deadline. I don't know if they sell low on Barkley right now.
I don't know if Barkley's going anywhere this season. I think after this season.
I think that the Giants, and I said this when the Giants drafted him, it made no sense drafting a running back as a second pick, knowing that you had so many pieces and so many lack of pieces where you weren't a Super Bowl contender. You do not draft a running back unless, it doesn't matter how good he is. You don't draft a running back in the top 3 unless you're right there on the borderline of being a Super Bowl contender and your weakness was your running game. That is the only way you make a move. The Giants were so weak in so many different areas to make a move like that, as good as Saquon Barkley, it set their team back. And I said that when they drafted him. I said that to Mikey C, and I said that to a lot of Giant fans when they were so excited when they got him. Matty Caps are so excited. I said, what are you excited about? You're bringing in a running back running backs don't win Super Bowls. Quarterbacks do. Defense does. And you didn't do that. You set your team back. And he said, I'm out of my mind. And what are you seeing right now? Oh, I do remember him saying that Williamson on the Pelicans wasn't going to be any player in the NBA, and look what he is right now. He's got just as good of numbers as Michael Jordan. The only offensive player that's come close to Michael Jordan numbers in his first 3 years as an NBA player. So I'm just saying. And I said Williamson was going to be a great player, and he said he wasn't. Now, Williamson's one of the best players in the league. And the same thing with Saquon Barkley. He says he's going to be a banger. He's going to be one of the best players in the league, one of the best running backs. Tell me the last time Saquon, besides his rookie season, where Saquon Barkley led in the top 5 in running game in the league. And the answer is he hasn't been. So as good as he is, and I'm not saying Saquon isn't good, he belongs on a team that's a ready-to-win-now team. He doesn't belong with the New York Giants.
Well, the Giants also had other drafts that set them back, though, too badly.
Well,
2017 was terrible.
Then the
16 was pretty bad.
The Giants should chop him then.
And Emmitt Smith.
I think they will in season.
And Cleveland Dash says Emmitt Smith. Emmitt Smith wasn't the reason why they won the Super Bowl, okay? That was because of their defense and arguably the best offensive line in NFL history, okay? That's why the Cowboys won the Super Bowl. Emmitt Smith was a part of the Super Bowl, but Emmitt Smith wasn't the main reason why they won the Super Bowl. You ever hear of Michael Irvin? You ever hear about Troy Aikman? Have you ever hear about the defensive guy, the Ronnie Lotts and the players
Charles
that they
Haley,
had? Yeah, give me a break.
Also, Cleveland.
Deion Sanders.
Cleveland, also, it's a different era of football. Top running backs were a big part of championship teams in the 20th century. Not as much now, where you see more platoons and really the offensive strategy in a passing league. Outside of Seattle and maybe the Steelers with Jerome Bettis at the end of his career, you don't see as many of those teams with quote-unquote feature backs win championships to that same one. The Rams did it with Marshall Faulk. That's, again, beyond that, it's not really much. The Patriots platoon running backs. The Giants, all these teams platoon these running backs.
Mm-hmm. He says, if Emmitt Smith did not come back for the Cowboys, we're not going anywhere. They were not going anywhere without the running game.
Which is fair, but again,
that's not true. That's not true. That really isn't true, because that defense was as good as any defense we've seen in 10 years when they were dominant, when they won those 3 Super Bowls in the 90s. That defense was good. And I'm telling you, that was the best offensive line in NFL history. The best offensive line. And they had arguably the best corner in NFL history in Deion Sanders. So I don't know what you're talking about, Cleveland. As good as Emmitt Smith was, Emmitt Smith wouldn't have been as good as he was if he played for anybody but the Cowboys. If you played him with the Jets, or you put him on the Giants, or you put him on any of those teams, you think Emmitt Smith would have the numbers he had when he played behind that offensive line? The answer is no.
Yes, and even if he wasn't still a great running back, he wouldn't have been the leading rusher.
He was a great running back.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been the leading rusher all time. He wouldn't have been the 3-time champion that he was. It wasn't the only reason. And again, going back to what I was saying, 20th century football, they relied on the run game more versus now. It still matters, but it's not something where you have to invest all your money in terms of a roster structure type thing.
Go look at the schedule that year. Here's the thing. And Cleveland, I'm going to tell you this. Go look at the offensive line. There were 4 out of the 5 players on that offensive line were they were Hall of Famers, okay? Hall of Famers, okay? That's how good that offensive line was. I could have played behind that offensive line and ran over 1,000 yards a season, okay? That's how good that offensive line was. Offensive line is predicated, running games are predicated behind the offensive line. And the offensive line, that was the greatest offensive line in NFL history. Go look at top offensive lines in history. I guarantee you, on any single mark, you go to Bleacher Report, or any of the top 5 running offensive lines in NFL history.
They're easily in there.
They're the number one in almost every single one of them. So to say that Emmitt Smith was the reason why they won a Super Bowl, he was a part of it. They had Michael Irvin, they had Deion Sanders, they had a great defense. They had arguably one of the best safeties in NFL history in Ronnie Lott. They were phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal in the 90s. So to say it was because of Emmitt Smith, it's ludicrous. Mm-hmm. Ludicrous. And you're a Cowboy fan, Beef.
Yeah, I'm not saying it was all Emmitt Smith. I mean, he had a lot of big moments too that helped them. But
I didn't say that he didn't.
I didn't say that you said that, but again,
I don't think it was Emmitt Smith the reason why they won those 3 Super Bowls. And here's the thing, you could have give me a running back in the 90s that was decent.
That was decent.
Just give me a running back just off the head.
Otis Anderson.
Otis Anderson. If you put Otis Anderson on that team, they would have won the Super Bowls. They would have. If you put Corey Dillon on those, they would have won Super Bowls. That offensive line was dominant.
Yeah, I know it was.
It was dominant. That defensive line was even more dominant. Could you imagine going to practices every single day and playing with that defense and offensive line?
It's probably one of the top 5 defenses of all time, probably.
They were unbelievable.
We interviewed one about 3 weeks ago. He was saying how good they were, that defense.
By the way, John Ferris says, perfect example, Barry Sanders. Great running back, terrible team. Yeah. By the way, Ezekiel Elliott cannot run behind the same offensive line, by the way. All right, so.
Thank you, John Ferris, for letting us throw that jab in there.
He said, Cleveland says, I'm not saying.
Maybe I need to send you back to the hospital.
Go ahead, Speedy. Read off what he's saying.
Cleveland says, I'm not saying it was all Emmitt. I was just saying without the running game, the Cowboys would not winning that Super Bowl, and I understand that, but Emmitt's backup, that's the problem. Okay. Yeah, okay, we're not denying that, but again, they still had so much talent where they can still win in other ways. And like Errol was saying, you could have a second tier for that generation type running back, or even just another decent running back, like he was saying, Corey Dillon, and they would still have a good team running game. That offensive line had maybe either the best or second best guard duo in NFL history with Larry Allen and Nate Newton. Yep. You could argue him versus the Oilers with Munchak and Matthews, but regardless, they still had a great offensive line where that ends up making a difference.
4 of their 5 offensive linemen are in the Hall of Fame. 3 of them were first ballot. I mean, how could you argue that? I could have ran behind that offensive line.
Would you say they have probably the top 5 offensive line? They're in the top 5.
Yeah, that was the greatest. Yes. I think that was the greatest offensive line in NFL history.
So you did the number 1.
That was the greatest offensive line I've ever seen. The greatest offensive line.
And again, Cleveland, we're not judging. We're just saying, all right, you're going to put some 4th string scrub running back behind instead of Emmitt Smith. They wouldn't win. Yeah, okay, but you could put a lot of other running backs in that time, and they still would win enough of those championships where they would be considered that quote unquote dynasty that they are in that time. And because the impact of the rest of the players around them too helped Emmitt Smith out. If Emmitt Smith didn't have Michael Irvin, he was getting all the attention like Barry Sanders did, too. Mm-hmm. So judge that accordingly for yourself. And that's why a lot of people will rank Barry Sanders still as a top running back over Emmitt Smith for that reason.
So much better than Emmitt Smith.
Guys, yeah, a lot of those other
So
running
much
backs,
better.
even though Emmitt Smith is the quote-unquote leading rusher of all
Could you
time.
imagine Barry Sanders behind that offensive line? Could you imagine what he would have put numbers up that we would never even compare?
And he would not retire early.
No. Could you imagine? He would have ran 2,600 yards.
Mm-hmm.
He was running 1,600 yards behind probably arguably one of the worst offensive lines in NFL history. I mean, seriously. So you put him behind that line? Ridiculous. Cleveland Dash, no Barry Bananas is way better than Emmitt Smith. But what did he say? No,
Barry Bananas is way better than Emmitt Smith.
No
I
way?
guess
He says no way.
I guess he's admitting it. All right,
No,
fine.
He said no way. I think he meant no way Barry Bananas is
come
better.
Come on, Cleveland. You can't honestly be saying that.
Oh, well,
Barry
maybe-
Sanders made reverse cuts you'll never see on a terrible offensive
No, I
line
think
and
he
a
said
terrible team.
no. Barry Bananas is way better than Emmitt Smith.
Okay. Hopefully you're specifying that.
You have to put a comma there. You have to put a comma there, Cleve. We have to.
Okay, just say the same statement again. That doesn't really help us, Cleveland.
But
I hope you're saying Barry Sanders is better than Emmitt Smith.
But with the NFL and free agency and the open market and where the open market is going, don't count out all these teams. The Jets they have a load of availability to make moves and bring players to this team where it's going to solidify. The Jets are not a win now team. They're not. And they're going to make 2 or 3 moves, big moves this offseason. They're still going to make big moves next season. So they're 2 years away from being a contender. I don't know if they're even a playoff team this year. I don't know if they're that.
Well, right now they're not, but
No.
you have to see what they add.
Well, with football, it could change over the blink of an eye, over a night.
Well, they had a couple.
If you
players
make the
here
right
and there,
moves.
all of a sudden, they're a playoff team now. You know what I mean? So you don't know yet. It's too early.
Yeah, the AFC is definitely a conference where they can make the playoffs as a wild card because I think probably Buffalo is still the favorite to win the division, I would imagine.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, Miami still, talent-wise, is kind of similar to the Jets. They're maybe a little better right now, but they're not a guarantee. Same with the Patriots. Like, they're bringing in new guys, but it doesn't mean it'll fit.
Again, you don't know if Deshaun Watson's going to end up there, which he could. So
I think Deshaun Watson's going to end up in Miami. I really do believe that. I really do believe it.
And if he does, that puts him as a playoff contender.
Who do I think the Jets will sign? I think Richard Sherman is a guy that I think would stand out for the Jets, a veteran corner that can help out some of the young secondary that the Jets have. I could see the kid from Atlanta.
Keanu
Neal being available. And I think with Marcus May, he fit like a glove with the 4-3, and they're going to bring in an edge rusher. I think Jadeveon Clowney, you could bring in the kid from the Bengals, Lawson, or you could possibly bring in a guy,
Hendrickson.
You could bring in Hendrickson, or you could bring in Lawson and
Dunlap.
Dunlap over there, 2 guys that played together with the Bengals. They're going to make 3, 4, maybe 5 moves to solidify.
Now that Josh brought it up too, Danielle Hunter's another interesting one to look at too as a speed rusher. Very underrated guy who's had 3 double-digit sack seasons already in his career for a young player too.
Mm-hmm.
So if the Jets would probably have to give up maybe a 3rd-round pick or something like that, but I think that's worth it for Danielle Hunter. Maybe a 2nd if they're trying to push that hard, but I mean they might not have to if Hunter keeps wanting out.
Mm-hmm.
Like you saw with Ngakwe last year, where the Jags only got a 3rd and a 5th, and then the Vikings only got a 3rd, trading him to the Ravens.
What was that beef?
It's going to be very interesting, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen in the draft in the next couple weeks. It's going to be very interesting.
Well, we're going to know. I think you're going to see the majority of the moves happen in the next 2 weeks. I think a lot of the big names will be off the board.
Yep. I said the next couple of weeks, and I said then the draft. I'm excited for the draft.
And I could see the Cowboys bringing in Peterson on a contract, on a cheap contract, because he's a veteran corner that they need to solidify that secondary. And if they do bring in a corner in the draft, they're going to need somebody that's going to help him grow. And Peterson.
I heard Peterson was linked to the Cowboys.
That's why I brought him up. I think Peterson is a guy that would fit like a glove for the Cowboys, and I could see the Cowboys making a move. You're not going to have to overpay somebody like Peterson.
Not on a down year.
No. Peterson, you pay him $5 million, $4 million, you bring him in, and Jeff over here is saying, breaking news, the New York Jets have moved to the Canadian Football League so they can finally compete. I don't really care what Jeff says. Jeff's funny when he wants to be funny. He could be out of his mind sometimes too. You think
I'm surprised the first thing Jeff said wasn't a shot at the beef.
No, he's taking shots at the Jets, but listen, he has his own opinion, and if that's the way he thinks,
I do not know who you're referring to. So.
Yes, we're aware of that.
You think Ertz is a good fit for the Jets? He's a good fit for the Jets. I don't think the Jets are going to make that kind of move. A lot of defense coming off the board.
That's expected. Yeah, they're going to get paid first.
Still a lot on the board.
Not only that, offensive players are generally tougher in terms of wanting a bigger contract than they might deserve, like Juju.
Again, well, you have to see if Ertz is going to be released first. So, but
I think he is. I think he will. I don't think they're going to move him. I don't think you're going to get much for him. A fifth round, sixth round draft pick.
So let's just, if they release him, you wouldn't want him on the Jets for.
No, I do. I don't think the Jets. Listen, you're not going to see the Jets. You're not going to see Joe Douglas just make a move for the sake of moving. They're going to make strategic moves that he believes will help this team grow for the next 2 or 3 years, where it turns them into a contender.
Yeah, but Ertz would help that team.
I don't think so. He's older, and the Jets are not a win-now team. I think Ertz needs to go to a team that's a win-now team.
Yeah, Ertz might be just like a last resort type option for them later in free agency as a blocking tight end, and maybe like a semi-decent.
So if he goes to the Cowboys,
the Cowboys are a win-now team because they're in a terrible division. They're in one of the worst divisions in football history. I mean, look at that division.
Well, I know.
That's not a good division. The Cowboys can win that division with Dak Prescott, and you add a Zach Ertz, you add some secondary help. Yeah, they're a win now team. They can absolutely win. I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl, but they'll be a contender, especially in that division. So yes, they're a win now team.
Well, aren't they playing 17 games now next season?
Yes.
Yeah, they're playing 17 games, so I have to see how the tiebreaker situation ends up working, because normally they would just play the third place schedule because that's where they finished last year. So I don't know where that extra game is coming. They're still in discussion with that. Go ahead.
So they took away a preseason game, right?
Yes, they took away a preseason game. They're only doing 3 of those now. They just haven't confirmed where that other game is coming from yet. Whether they're going to add it in conference, out of conference, or maybe even in division too, where they can rotate that.
And there's still only one bye week, right?
From what I heard, yeah. I think they were only going to do 2 bye weeks if they were going to extend it to 18 games.
18, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think if they're doing 17 games, they're just going to stick to the 1 bye week like they normally do, spread them out accordingly like they do throughout the season. It's just, again, a matter of the Cowboys, again, they still need a lot on defense. Yeah, they can win the division, but the next step will be improving that defense to actually make a run later, which is still going to be hard.
If Dak didn't get hurt, I believe they would have won the division last
year. Yeah, they would have won the division. Yeah, just a matter of how far they would have gone.
Yeah, they wouldn't have gone far. So
that defense is still not good.
Yeah, and I agree with John Ferris. He says the Cowboys want Certain. I do believe that's the guy that they're gunning for. If he falls to them, I think Certain could be drafted in the top 10. I think
that was another one that
from Alabama.
Cowboys, yes, I heard.
Yeah, because Diggs is already there.
Cowboys had their rides on. Yep.
I'm hearing that Certain could actually fall into the top 10, and the Cowboys might miss out on.
Yeah, but if you have him and Pitts, who do you take?
Certain
easily.
Well,
not that Pitts isn't a better player, because I think he will be at his position, but Dallas doesn't need targets. They have 3 good receivers. They shouldn't be prioritizing all offense right now.
No, but you should take the best player on the board.
Mm-hmm. Not in this case. You need as I love Pitts. He's the best college tight end I've seen, but you need a certain level of leeway in order to draft the tight end that early, and Dallas needs so much on defense where I don't know if they can afford to do that.
Again, are you supposed to take the best player on the board?
It depends on the circumstances, and the Cowboys are not in the circumstances right now to do that. Their offense was so potent last year without a great tight end. They had 3 very talented receivers. Granted, Gallup is streaky, but he's better than a lot of number 2s on other teams. They don't really need to prioritize the tight end as much.
Gallup was one of their best receivers.
Right. So my point is, you don't really need to do that as much in terms of prioritizing another target when you have the 3 good receivers. And Pitts, it's not like Pitts is a great blocker where, all right, this guy's a great blocking tight end and maybe you'll draft him as later.
He could do everything.
He's a good blocker, but he's not like this world-class blocker where they need him for that either. And again, they need way too much on defense, and this is a very good corner draft. This is a decent at the top half linebacker draft, and
Pitts is going to drop.
Yeah,
I think he's going to drop.
I think they really need to prioritize definitely the corners, whether it's Surtain, whether it's Farley, whether it's J.C. Horn, somebody like that. They really need to prioritize that, or even consider trading back too, maybe getting a multiple defensive type guys, because they could definitely make that pick valuable if somebody wants to steal a receiver from the Giants or something like that, or a linebacker.
I I mean, to me, you take the best player on the board at the time that's there.
You have to have the right
But
situation.
he might not be the
though,
best player on the board for them.
for them because they have an overload already with targets, with wide receivers. They don't need another target to go with that because a lot of people think that Pitts is also going to be a tight end that spreads out and plays wide receiver too on some teams, which the Cowboys, they're not going to have that leeway to do that because they have 3 guys already.
3 nasty weapons, man.
Well,
Nasty
it depends on
weapons.
if they get hurt. If they get hurt, then they don't have to do that. So
That doesn't matter. Regardless, they shouldn't. Even if they don't get Ertz, they don't need to draft a tight end at 10.
Well,
if the
they
Cowboys
still do
trade back and maybe get another first-round pick, and maybe they trade back, they get a couple seconds, and then Pitts is still there maybe at 18 or something. I'm just saying a number hypothetically, maybe. And if they know they can get corner depth later on. But they need way too much on defense right now. It's not like they only need a couple defensive pieces. They need a lot.
I don't think they need a lot on.
Yes,
Yes,
they
they
do.
do.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. That secondary is horrendous.
It's horrendous.
Their secondary, their front seven's fine. So.
No, not really.
They have no pass rusher.
Who's their depth outside of Lawrence? They have 2
Lawrence
linebackers that are
was terrible last year.
they have 2 linebackers that are good, but they can't stay
he's
healthy.
he's gonna have a bounce back year. He'll be fine.
Their interior's terrible. I mean, where do you have the talent on that defense besides maybe 3 players?
So what about Van Der Esch?
Yeah, he's a nice player, but
Can't stay
again,
healthy.
he's one player.
And he can't stay healthy.
One player does not make a defense.
Yeah, well, I mean, he vows that he's going to stay healthy this season. So we'll see.
Okay, that's easier said than done.
Cleveland says, "What do you think about my Broncos?" Well, the Broncos, they got a lot of things that they need, and the quarterback position. We were listening to Deshaun Watson; he was in it, but they don't have enough draft stock to get a Deshaun Watson. I think they definitely need defensive line help. That's something that they with over the years. This was really what they solidified over the years with the guys that they've had: the Von Millers, the Wolves, and even DeMarcus. What was that?
DeMarcus Ware. Yeah.
Yes, DeMarcus Ware. You want to put Josh on?
All right, Josh. Oh,
you can put Speeve on too. You can put them both on.
Oh, I clicked one of them on
Call
hold.
from
Josh.
All right, let's put them on. We'll put them on. Go ahead.
Am I on?
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Yep.
That was it.
What did you say? I didn't hear you.
Oh, I said the Jets have signed wide receiver Corey Davis.
Oh, okay.
Corey Davis from the Tennessee Titans, right?
Yes, 3 years for 37.
That's not bad.
Mm-hmm. That's not bad. Yeah, that's not bad.
That's a pretty good contract. It's not a terrible contract.
And they're trying to get what's name from the 49ers, the quarterback, Alexander. So that's what they're zeroing in on next.
The cornerback?
He's a linebacker. Come on, Alexander.
Well,
hold on a second. Let me see.
The cornerback is Verrett, but he got signed already.
You're Adam Schefter on here.
Okay. The cornerback is Verrett, and he got signed already.
Kawan Williams.
That's nothing special.
That's nothing special. They're not going to have to overpay him. These are all.
Yeah, he's probably going to be a slot corner.
What do you think of the Corey Davis?
I think it's a good move.
That's not bad for 3 years, 37.
In the offense that they're running the offense. A guy like Davis is a guy that
big body guy in the red zone too.
Yeah, that's why they're getting him. That's why they wanted him. You know, they're not going to go over. There's first of all, the wide receiving core is not. It's not going to stand out in this year's draft. When we saw that Allen Robinson went back to Chicago and Juju's probably the best wide receiver available, but Juju's going to want a lot of money.
They might even still get him.
They could. I don't think the Jets want him.
I think Juju's going to want wide receiver one money, and I think the Jets need other things right now, especially now getting Davis.
Yeah, I don't think the Jets want to deal with him, with Juju.
Well, I just don't want. I think he's overrated.
Yeah, I do too.
He's a head case too. I mean,
Well,
with the freaking TikTok videos.
Yes, that's number one. He's a head case, and the Jets don't want to deal with one of those.
Yeah, I also think too the Jets have to really, now that they got Davis, they might go for another veteran receiver later, but
I don't think
they need to prioritize the edge rushers now.
I don't really think they're going to go after another wide receiver. I think Corey Davis was the guy that they were looking at. I do believe they think Denzel Mims is their number one guy, and if he can stay on the field, and they have Jamison Crowder, who's one of the best slot receivers in the league. Maybe they draft somebody with the availability that they have in the draft. If somebody falls, like a Waddle falls to them at 23, I could see the Jets drafting Eric Waddle.
The report I also read was that they're zeroing in also on Carl Lawson.
Mm-hmm. That's important for them. They have to make that a priority.
Pass rusher.
Lawson. Yeah,
they want a pass rusher, and
I'm surprised they didn't get Ngakoue though with that contract.
Yeah,
because you have to remember Douglas tried to trade for him last year.
They did, yeah, but Ngakoue didn't have a good season. He really did.
But still, that's a great value, though.
No, they did. But maybe he didn't want to go to the Jets. How do we know that the Jets didn't offer him and he want to go to the Jets? Listen, Corey Davis, is it a move that really stands out? No. But Corey Davis really underachieved over there in Tennessee.
Well, Jimmy Jardine is excited.
Jimmy Jardine? What do you mean, Jimmy Jardine? You mean the...
He's excited. Jimmy's excited.
Oh,
He's
Jardine.
excited
Jimmy
about
from Weapons Hot. Yeah,
Todd, he's excited about this.
Well, Corey Davis.
Oh, it's a good value. Yeah. He underachieved for what his draft pick was, but I think every draft analyst said at that time that they should have been drafted there.
If you look at the numbers the last 2 years, they've been drastically improved, and that was with Ryan Tannehill as his quarterback.
Yeah, he's been a little more consistent, but
or he'll have Wilson as his quarterback, so he'll have a better, I would say, more athletic quarterback now throwing him the football.
He's been a little more consistent.
He's young. He's big. He's strong. He had 984 yards. He had 984 yards, 15. He averaged 15 yards per catch, 5 touchdowns with Ryan Tannehill as his quarterback. I mean, he's a big body. He's a guy that's good in the red zone. That's
a nice wide receiver 2 season. Yeah,
it's a good number 2 guy, and I still think that they think Denzel Mims is their number 1 guy. I really do believe that. So, John Ferris says you think the Jets can get Trey Hendrickson. Yes, I do. I don't know if he's the first guy that they're looking for. I think that guy. I think Lawson was the guy that they were looking at. A guy that really became a Pro Bowl player in the last 2 years, and he's a young player.
Yeah.
So, listen, I still think everybody just needs to relax and let the things start to fall together for the Jets. I think that everything will fall together. They didn't overpay Corey Davis. That's a pretty good contract. 3 years, and I guarantee you, they could actually opt out of the contract after the first or second year. Notice all his contracts are 1 to 3 years. They're nothing over 4 years. All the contracts that he's done since he's been there with the Jets. Last year, the offensive line, Font, 3-year deal. You could buy out of it. You could release him after the first year. McGovern, 3-year deal. You could buy out after the second year. All these deals are 3 or less deals. These are good deals for the Jets.
Yeah, he's extremely durable, too. I think he's only missed 1 game in his career, Davis, even though he hasn't played well in all of them, obviously. But...
Well, look who he had throwing to him.
Well, not only that,
Mariota.
Not only that, his consistency has to get better. But it did get better this year, though. But again, durability is a big key for a Jets team that was very injury-prone last year.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what, and you get him at $12 million.
That's cheap.
As a value, I think that's a great deal for Douglas to get that value. And a guy that only played 14 games last year and still had almost 1,000 yards receiving.
984, we just said it.
An incredible value, I think, to get somebody like that.
Douglas is not going to.
Look at the last 2 years; he's ascending his way up. These last 2 years, I just looked on Pro Football Focus.
Joe Douglas is not going to overpay players. That's what, as a Jet fan, you guys should be happy about that, because what it does is.
I love the signing.
I'm just saying. A lot of it, the whole Thuney move or the Lindsley move. I'm sorry, because I'm so everybody bothers me because I'm reading on social media and everybody writing to me on Twitter. No, because everybody's out of their friggin' mind. Because the Jets didn't make the move, they didn't overpay over the years. You know why Mike Maccagnan doesn't have a job right now? Because Mike Maccagnan overpaid players that didn't fit the culture of the New York Jets.
Can you imagine what he would have given Dunny?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
$90 million.
Thuney got $22 million guaranteed. You know what Mike Maccagnan would have given him? Mike Maccagnan would have gone as high as $30 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
That would have been a worse contract than Tremaine Johnson.
and Jet fans would have been dancing in the streets, saying, "We got the big sexy name. Here we come. Here come the Jets." And I'm like, listen, he's an interior offensive lineman. Jesus, he's not a pass rusher.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, what's Khalil Mack's guarantee every year? What's his guarantee?
That's a good question. And by the way, a guy like Mike LaFleur playing in that Mike LaFleur offense, I think Corey Davis is going to thrive in that offense. He's going to thrive in it. So look at the wide receivers that have flourished in Matt LaFleur's offense, in McVay's offense. Mm-hmm. It's the same offense that's run over there with the New York Jets. You're going to see that. It's more a predominantly run.
Don't get me Hunter Henry, would you?
I don't think they're going to.
We know you want Hunter Henry.
I don't think
Go
they're going to.
Get me Hunter Henry. Go do.
You'll have a heart attack.
You'll enjoy him for the 5 games he plays.
Go do the 2 tight end sets and go the route with him and Herndon. Telling you, it'll work.
Okay, enjoy the 5 games he plays. He's very injury prone.
And you know what, Speedy? You know what? Those 5 games, he'll stand out. So and look, he hasn't been signed yet.
No, if they can get him on the
because
sheet.
teams are worried about his injury history.
Well, listen, if you get him at a good value, you do it.
That's fine. I'm just saying, I wouldn't judge him as a high priority free agent in comparison to others just because he's been good at when he's healthy.
Messing around. Listen, I'm messing around. I would not give him any. Listen, I would give him as a guarantee. If you give him $8 or $9 mil, I think that's fair.
Okay.
Anything over that, I think you move on. I think that's fair. $8 million guaranteed.
All right.
That's very fair. And that would be a steal.
Yeah, the way you salivated over it, you made it seem like you wanted to give him more.
Oh, I just do it to mess around, because Errol gets so annoyed when I bring up Hunter Henry's name.
I don't really care. I think that a lot of Jet fans are jumping off I think a lot of Jet fans are jumping off a plank because the Jets didn't. And I said it over and over again. I'll say it again. The Jets are not going to overpay players. Joe Douglas is not going to do that. He's not. And that's going to be the Jets' culture moving forward as long as Joe Douglas is there. He's not going to give these guys more than 3-year deals. You're going to see. If he brings Lawson in, he'll give them a 3-year deal with an option of a 4. He's not going to give them these long year because if you plan to win, you plan to compete, you have to have salary room and you have to build around the draft. And that's what he came out and said. I'm building around the draft. And you're going to see that. You're going to see that this year because if the Jets...
They might even draft another receiver. What if
I just told you, Eric Waddle falls to them at 23. They'll draft Eric Waddle.
What about Bateman from Minnesota?
You could get him in the second round.
I think you get him in the second. Yeah,
you'll get him in the second round.
That's another thing. You could get him in the second, and if you could get Rashad Bateman in the second round, that's a steal.
Well, if the Jets do draft at number 2, they're going to trade Sam, and they're going to probably get a 2nd and a 4 for Sam. So you'll have 2 second-round draft picks.
The Seahawks want to trade for Darnold now,
and that could happen. That could happen.
Sam Darnold and Jamal Adams reunited.
That could happen.
You know what? They should have gotten Adam Gase back as the offensive coordinator.
Oh God, please no.
Done the trifecta. Let's get Sam Darnold in here. We have Jamal Adams. Let's bring in Adam Gase and call it a day.
Maybe add Tremaine Johnson while you're at it.
Hey, listen, he's still available, but I'm going to let you guys go. I just wanted to give you guys that news. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, thanks, Josh.
All right, guys.
Josh Silverberg.
Corey Davis. Solid move.
How about you, Beef?
What about me?
Do you have anything to say before I let you go?
No, well, you can put Speedy Petey on the sidelines in his tidy whities.
That's a good idea.
Really,
I do want to finish.
Come on, Beef.
I do want to finish up with some NBA news, and we will talk on Wednesday. We'll talk a lot about baseball because obviously the baseball season's right around the corner. What do we have? A week left until the baseball season starts. I'm very excited with the baseball season. March Madness. We didn't even do our bracket. We didn't do a bracket.
We'll make Wednesday the bracket show.
Yes,
we got time.
Wednesday will be the bracket show. We will go through our brackets and we'll pick our winners.
Plus, we'll know the play-in games too. That'll help us pick.
Yes.
And Duke's not even in the tournament.
I know.
No, because they had to win probably 1, maybe 2 more.
They
games.
weren't going to play anyway with the COVID-19.
Well, yeah, obviously. But
yeah, Coach K already came out.
Even if they did, they still would have had to get the quad 1 win against Florida State.
And I think Kentucky's not in it either.
No, they were terrible.
They were absolutely horrendous.
They were worse than Duke.
Yes.
And I think this is the first time since maybe 1976 or something like that. It was
They didn't make it. They didn't make it. North Carolina squeaked in. They
didn't squeak in. They were an 8 seed.
That's squeaking in. They're usually a top 5 seed.
Squeaking in is like an 11 seed.
No, I think with North Carolina, with the team and
yes, obviously with expectations, okay, but
that to me is squeaking in
for their standards.
Yes,
okay,
that's squeaking. That's what I'm saying. That's why I said they squeaked in. But
North Carolina stinks.
I think they're going to lose. Oh, Errol's favorite matchup is to get to watch North Carolina against Wisconsin. Your 2 favorite teams.
I'm rooting for North Carolina.
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm rooting for Wisconsin. I'll root for Wisconsin. Yeah, I'll root for Wisconsin. I don't,
Of course.
Anyways, Beef, thanks, man.
So you got it, man. I'll talk to you guys soon.
The Beef, thank you, brother. My brother. Mr. Beef. Before we go, I want to get into a quick basketball conversation because obviously with the NBA and Draymond, I'm sorry, not Draymond Green, from the Cleveland Cavaliers. Andre Drummond, I'm sorry. Andre, by the way, guys, I've been dealing with a lot of pain and stuff like that. The fact that I'm here doing the show, I'm doing it for you guys. Doctor told me I needed to take it easy, but I'm here doing the show to entertain you guys and be here and give you my thoughts of sports. But by the way, he says I got Florida State going for
All right, John,
Far-
listen on Wednesday. I'm going to tell you why I disagree with you.
And Fuller could be added to that list. Yeah, Fuller could. I mean, Fuller
He's
could
so
go to the Jets.
fragile, though, too.
I mean, why would you want to bring Fuller in when you have a guy like Mims there? You have Crowder. You don't really need another wide receiver like that.
Will Fuller's like a slightly better Robbie Anderson.
Oh, he's better than Bobby.
Yeah, I know
Robbie
that,
Anderson.
but he's also fragile.
To get back into the NBA and Andre Drummond, who is available, and there are stories coming out that the New York Knicks are looking to make a move for him. He does fit Tom Thibodeau's defense. He does. A rebounder, arguably one of the best offensive rebounders in the league. He could do a lot of things. He averages about 14 points a game and about 13 rebounds a game. And he averages about 2 blocks a game. He's a fantastic defensive player. The Knicks do not need a shutdown defensive center. Right. They really don't. What they need is a go-to guy, a wing guard. That's what they need. A guy that can hit shots, demand double coverage. That's what the Knicks need. The only guy that really stands out to me is Bradley Beal. But Bradley Beal is going to cost a lot of picks and a lot of players for a guy of that magnitude. So he's not a free agent.
No, I mean, if he hits free agency later
he's
on,
not.
they
3
could
years
consider
from
it.
now. He's not a free agent for 3
I
years.
thought it was 2.
No, it's 3 years.
Oh, 3? Okay.
He just signed a contract 2 years ago. He signed a 5-year deal. So a guy like Bradley Beal, he's not going to be available for the New York Knicks. So you look at the Knicks right now and where the Knicks are, in position. Could they get an Andre Drummond? If they don't have to trade that much back for Andre Drummond, which they don't have to, it's a good move for the Knicks. But then you're going to have to re-sign him. And with the $40 million that you have this offseason, are you going to pay Andre Drummond, between $20 and $25 million? And then you're going to have, what, $15, $16 million to wiggle around with. Yeah. You need to bring another superstar. I don't know if you're going to be able to bring another superstar in for $16, $17 million.
Yeah, you're only going to pay him as a rental at that point, maybe just to fight out, win a playoff series, if anything. The Cavs front office is dumb, so maybe they can get great value for that. But I definitely wouldn't pay him, even if they do.
I mean, you're hearing stories about that, right?
Yeah, the Cavs front office is dumb. Might as well take a swing.
But I think the Knicks will keep him if the Knicks bring him in, they're going to keep him.
Well, they're going to have to get a good bargain for that, but I don't see that on a career year that Drummond has been having this year. He's kind of rebirthed himself after a couple, not down years, but you're like kind of, all right, he is what he is at this point in his career. I think he's going to get more money elsewhere, and I don't know if the Knicks are going to be able to do that kind of thing. Not that they can't spend, but that would be a top priority for them.
By the way, everybody taking shots at R.J. Barrett. Watch if anybody hasn't watched R.J. Barrett in the last 5 games since the All-Star break, even before the All-Star break. Look at his numbers. Look what he's doing right now. R.J. Barrett is slowly but surely turning into a superstar or a young star in this league. Now, all the doubters and the haters to the kid that he can't shoot, well, go look at his 3-point percentage in the last 6 games. Okay, so the guy is getting his shots up, he's getting his attempts up, and he's playing great basketball right now. Emmanuel Quigley has been unbelievable. He's been fantastic. To me, I believe he's the Rookie of the Year. They're going to give it to LaMelo Ball because LaMelo Ball, and you're hearing that Alonzo Ball could be traded to the Charlotte Hornets. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I did.
It's crazy. It is crazy. But we expected that because you heard, what's his name again? LeVar Ball come out and say that his sons are going to play on the same team one way or another. So why not play for Michael Jordan, which makes no sense. All these years that he's taking shots at Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan's the guy that's going to make the move and put his sons on the same team. I think this middle son, I don't think he's ever going to play in the NBA. But
he's lucky if he gets out of jail at this rate.
Yeah, I mean, LaMelo Ball has been fantastic. He's been fantastic. He's gotten better. His shot's gotten a lot better too. I think he broke a record in one quarter.
One half, I think it was. For
9 3-pointers or something like that. Uh-huh. It's crazy for a guy that shoots 29, 30% at the 3-point line to hit 9 3-pointers in the half. It's unbelievable. But
it's gotten a little better. It just has to be more consistent.
It's just weird. They got some weird shots. I mean, their releases are terrible. Alonzo, LaMelo, they're just terrible. I don't know who taught them how to shoot.
Maybe Sean Marion.
I have no idea. But, that's the story coming out in New York, Knickville, is that the Knicks are trying to make a move for Andre Drummond. Is it the splash that Knicks fans wanted to see? No, I would rather Victor Oladipo. If you could bring Victor Oladipo and Andre Drummond to the team with R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, and Emmanuel Quigley, now you have a team. Now you have a squad. Now you have a team that can compete because you can compete in the Eastern Conference.
That team can definitely win a playoff series.
Series. They can go all the way to the NBA
make
Finals.
The conference finals.
Absolutely, their defense. You have Victor Oladipo. You have
RJ Barrett, yeah.
RJ Barrett,
Randall,
and then obviously the center. What's his name again? I'm sorry, Andre Drummond. You add Andre Drummond to that defense. You have arguably 3 All-Stars on one team. You have Victor Oladipo, Andre Drummond, and you have Julius Randle. And RJ Barrett is a borderline guy.
Yeah, he could have been, yeah.
And Emmanuel Quigley is one of the best young offensive players right now in the league. So, yeah, I think they could compete against the Nets. You don't think they could compete with the Nets?
I think they can compete. I just don't know if they'll win. I think they can hang
Why?
tough,
The Nets
maybe.
don't play defense.
No, they don't. But the Knicks also need the offensive consistency, too, and the pace that ends up going with that.
If you're scoring about 100, 109, 110 points in a playoff game, you can win. And I think the Knicks could. Drummond averages about 14 points a game. Victor Oladipo almost 20 points a game. RJ almost 20 points a game. And Randall almost 25 points a game. And then Emmanuel Quigley coming off the bench or even starting, he's giving you about 13, 14 points a game. You can win.
Yeah, if there's an upset, maybe that's how it would happen in I guess for them.
You make it seem like that's an all-star team.
I'm not denying that. It's also them also playing for the first time together. This late in the season could be hard too for a playoff series. You're judging a playoff series. I think they can win one series. Yes, could they?
Why one series? The Eastern Conference is terrible.
Yeah, but there's still a lot of these guys are intact in comparison to what
the 76ers could beat them. Come on, man.
Yeah.
The 76ers, no, they can't. The 76ers are horrible. They're horrible without Joel Embiid. Okay.
Yeah, but Joel Embiid will be back for the playoffs.
Is he going to be 100%?
Maybe.
Not maybe. That's your answer. Maybe. And to me, I think Andre Drummond can shut down Joel Embiid. Okay. So I think Julius Randle is better than any other second tier players that they have. And their third, RJ's better than any, and Victor Oladipo is better than any third tier player they have.
Okay, but again, you're also judging the team that's been played together and was held back by such bad coaching for a while too in the Sixers.
But that has nothing to do with the argument. You're talking about talent of the team and the bench players that they have.
Yeah, and I'm also judging experience. Sixers will have home court advantage. There's a lot of other factors that go into it.
Home court advantage doesn't mean anything when there's no crowds. Okay, so I don't think that makes.
I think they're
difference.
getting their crowds back though, Philly.
What, 2,000? That's it. They're not filling up the stadium. It's still not enough.
But again, we've also seen, look at this this kind of year, we've still seen favorites win their championships as a result. It's who's the champions? The Lakers, the Dodgers, the Tampa Bay Lightning are 3 of the best teams in their respective sports, and 2 of them are the best teams in their respective sports.
Anyways, guys, that's it for our show. We will be back on Wednesday for Below the Mic. I want to give a shout out to John Ferris, CJ Desimone, all the guys that come on our feeds, talk sports with us, Carl, all the fans that stay tuned and listen to our show. The Beef calling up the show, Josh calling up the show.
Twice.
I'm sorry?
Twice.
Yeah, all the people that stay in tune with what we're doing with the network. We're growing. We have so many great shows. We have some new shows coming to our network. Everything is moving in the right direction, and I want to thank everybody for giving me a shout out with my neck surgery and all that other stuff. Hopefully I get a speedy recovery and I'm 100% healthy when this is all over. But we'll be back on Wednesday. Until then, this is Errol Marks and Speedy PD saying good night. We'll talk to you then. Good night, everybody.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Do current market conditions have you nervous? Our experienced team of financial professionals at Heritage Harbor Financial Associates understands that no 2 investors are alike. We all have different goals, needs, and appetites for risk. That's why the one-size-fits-all approach does not work, especially when planning for retirement. At Heritage Harbor Financial Associates, we analyze your unique investment style so that you can work toward your individual retirement goals on your terms. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates can help you take steps to reach your retirement goals by providing a wide array of financial products to fit your needs, even for the risk adverse. Give us a call at 631-331-6599 to learn more or to set up an appointment with one of our financial professionals. You can also find us on the web at hhfa.org or on Facebook at facebook.com/hhfa.org. Our number again is 631-331-6599. That's 631-331-6599. Investments in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds and variable annuities are not FDIC insured and are subject to fluctuation in value and market risk, including loss of principal. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates offers securities through AXA Advisors LLC, New York, New York. Member FINRA, SIPC. Annuity and insurance products offered through AXA Network LLC.
Be fearless. fearless at MMA Long Island and Setuha Karate. Located at 28 Colt Court in Ronkonkoma, MMA Long Island is the martial arts school for you if you want to learn combat-proven techniques, build confidence, discipline, and self-esteem while learning real martial arts to fight back against bullies, predators, and peer pressure. MMA Long Island offers group and private lessons for all ages and levels in traditional Goju-Ryu karate, MMA, and self-defense. MMA Long Island is one of Long Island's most affordable martial arts schools. There are no promotion, belt, or membership fees, and family discounts are available. All classes are taught by 7th degree black belt Sensei John Benedict with over 30 years teaching experience. So whether you want to get in the ring or protect yourself and your family, MMA Long Island can help you reach your goals. Visit MMALongIsland.com. That's MMALongIsland.com or call or text 516-381-9660. That's 516-381-9660.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit him online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that